Welcome back to Derailed. I am your humble host, JJ Lahey, here with my esteemed friend and co-host, the draft robot, Mr. Jake Schyvinck. Jake, you look like you just saw something terrifying off to the corner of your room there.
Just now?
Yeah.
It
looks like you saw a ghost or something.
I was just trying to grab the link in time to share it, is all.
Oh, just in time.
So.
Yeah, Derailed is brought to you by Redacted Energy.
I don't think
Derail your exhaustion. Try the new cotton candy flavor today. So Jake had an idea for today's episode that we should do our predictive. All right, and we did this last year. I think we did the last 2 years, where we did an episode right before the draft. Basically, like, name it and claim it. As many players as you think you can, like, bet the farm on the Packers are going to draft. Now, it's a good idea. Problem is, I feel very shaky about this year's draft, to be honest. Like, I still don't really have my finger on the pulse of what I think the Packers are going to do this year. Just saying. Last year was like such a monkey wrench. It totally shook my confidence in trying to figure out where Goody's head is at.
I mean, I've done this a few years in a row now where I make the first round fits for Green Bay of like, oh yeah, this is like the list. Like this is your list of guys that could potentially be the pick. And I feel like this year it's like exponential. I feel like I could put 40 guys down for this video I'm going to post later tonight. Like I don't know what
I could
the
put
heck
40
is going to happen.
offensive linemen down, but
at 23, I just meant pick 23.
Goody took Quay Walker with like the 22nd pick in the draft. So I think there's like 40 offensive linemen that you could say.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
All right. Look, I did want to highlight my favorite comment so far. 2 p.m. today. Chris, I'm here early to make sure I get a front row seat.
Crazy.
Happy to have you, Chris. Notice you've been posting in the chat the last 6 hours. Then we have, let's see here. Drew is in the house. Hello, Drew. Drew wants to draft Derek Harmon. Okay. He also really wants to trade up in the second round. He would like in on action like Trey Amos.
The action.
Derek Harmon, Walter Nolan. I'm sensing a theme here. Drew likes a lot of the same players we do. So it's a good thing he listens to the show.
Other than Calvin Banks, yeah, I think so. Other than that, I do believe he does agree with a lot.
I'm hearing some Kelvin Banks to the Bears at 11.
Oh yeah, he's not getting out of the top. There's the tackle run. I think is going to happen a lot quicker. Now again, I think
we nabbed ours last year in Jordan Morgan, right?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I think I think even Simmons might be off the board before Green Bay picks. I think that's how like desperate teams might be.
I don't think that's a hot take. I agree with you there. No, I think Simmons is probably going to be gone. Look, Packers brought Simmons in for a visit. Obviously, you got to take a look at that leg and see how he's doing. I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think that if Simmons is there, I think he's the pick. But I agree with you.
Yeah,
I think he probably.
I think I've got the feeling that there's a chance. There is a small chance that all of the receivers are on the board when Green Bay picks, and they're going to pick none of them. That
would be the least shocking outcome.
It would. Well, maybe, yeah, for sure. I just think it just feels like I just don't know where the league is at with Golden anymore. I think I just don't think that they probably overreacted the way a lot of people did to the 40 time.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, he plays a different game than the 4-2-9. I don't know if all these like questions popping up are just smoke. It could be. Dallas could be trying to lead that charge. I don't know, and take him at 12, but I don't know, man. I think there are enough questions with all of them truly, where it's like, oh yeah, they could kind of tumble a little bit. I can't believe I'm saying this. The one with like the least amount of questions, and I think the potentially the
Trey Harris.
most instant impact player of the bunch from day one is Ibuka, and
Isaac Tesla
could be the
I
first
totally agree.
player off the board at receiver, like truly, because I think he has the least amount of questions. Tet has a great handful of reps where he doesn't look like an X receiver at all. Golden hasn't had any type of production that's that's really inviting, other than our trusty guy JJ, the first downs per
Travis Hunter.
target. The first downs per target for Golden is the one thing I feel like is carrying the stock. But yes, Hunter at receiver is like the one saving grace of the class where you go, okay.
I thought that was like
a
huge oversight for you when you said that Ibuka would be the first receiver off the board. I thought you were just like, Hunter.
Yeah.
Didn't realize
Travis Hunter will be the first generationally unique prospect off the board. And the only generationally unique prospect off the board in this one.
How dare you besmirch the good name of Jackson Dart?
He's not even the Taysom Hill. It's Milroe, man. Personally, but I don't know, man. I think the Loveland dream is super dead. I think Tyler Warren's in play at 5 for Jacksonville, and I going to be so ticked if the Bears pick Loveland. I can't even tell you. I'm going to be more upset than them picking Rome last year. I
was happy they picked Rome last year.
Well, that's fine. But like the Loveland thing, I will be very depressed if they're the ones that end up with him. Like I'm just begging anybody else. Please. I'm making my pitch to all the NFL teams. Just somebody go get him. Please go get him. If it's Miami, whatever, 12 we're not putting this out in the universe. Don't.
What if the Bears trade?
Don't.
I'm just telling you, man.
This.
I think there is certainly a non-zero chance that both Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland fall out of the first round.
I don't. I think they're way too highly regarded.
I think that the what's the word I'm looking for? It's all over the place. Of like they could either one of them go inside the top 10 or drop to the second round. Volatility is the word I'm looking for.
I don't think the Chargers and Broncos would let that happen.
If the Chargers are the one, but here's the thing. You know who else I think would be on the board when the Chargers are picking? I think Kenneth Grant is probably going to be available. So if Kenneth Grant and Colston Loveland are available, I don't see them going Loveland.
Effect. I think it's a domino effect because I think Grant or Harmon is the pick at 21 for Pittsburgh. If one of them are there, I feel like Harmon's going to go before that. So to me, I do think like if I lean towards the idea that I think the Chargers are going to get maybe one of those two Michigan guys.
Oh, sure.
I don't think they're going to have the opportunity to select either, or at the time of their selection, is my opinion. But I think, man, two tight ends going top 16. It's that type of class, as Adam Huddle's pointing in the comments. Like it is a very strange class. There's things all over the place. Shamar Stewart's got a very volatile, I think, range of outcomes as well. Mm-hmm. Mykal Williams, we're already getting that early smoke this week of like, yeah, no, he could go to Carolina at 8, maybe New Orleans at 9. So like there's so much. It's going to be all over the place. There's going to be like quote unquote heavy reaches, I think, in terms of consensus boards. Maybe once we even get into the teens, it just could be that type of draft, which I mean is certainly going to feed plenty of excitement.
Look, we got Brian Maffey in the chat here saying, "Where's the NOS?" I guess he's a big Fast and Furious fan. And on that note, Too Old for This said, "Did you see Brian's drip today? Vest over hoodie is a vibe." Brian Maffey, send us a picture of the drip so we can feature you on the stream here. Since Too Old for This is excited about your drip. 12 of this said, I like Nolan and then Trey Harris at 2. I mean, Trey Harris, just saying. Now, what about this, though? Trey Amos and then Trey Harris. And what it would really be is Trey Amos, Trey Henderson, then Trey Harris.
There we go.
Amos, Henderson, Harris. Did I say that right? I did.
Yeah, that works for me. I know people are going to be very upset leaving Friday without any defensive linemen at all, but hey, man, would love to see it.
Adam Huntle says, Mikel definitely going over Shamar. Bet that if you can find it. I didn't know that this was even a point of discussion. I thought it was like a given. Like Mikel was definitely going earlier. I thought.
I think after the combine,
a tray of trays.
But I do think one of them's a much better.
The combine spike always throws things off. The combine spike is a fantastic time to place some bets.
It is until the Marcus Davenport thing happens. Sean Payton is itching for that type of player. Maybe the Bears could do it. Dennis Allen.
Yeah.
It could easily happen. That would be incredible. Thank you, Chicago. Please take Shamar Stewart with like Loveland and others on the board. I'm begging you guys.
I don't know, man. I'm feeling more and more like Shamar is going to be there when Green Bay picks. Just saying.
Please, anything else? We don't have to do this.
Oh,
we don't need the trifecta, man. I don't want the trifecta.
But
please give me something else.
Hey, listen. I want to throw an idea to you for tonight's live stream.
Okay.
We go through our position groups. And we throw our names out there, okay? Then we do a mock draft as long as some people sponsor the mock draft. We do a mock draft, and the rule is we can only select players that we listed.
Okay.
And then you can only make trades if you believe in your heart of hearts that this is a realistic trade that Goody would make, that another team would accept.
Okay.
What do you think?
I like it. I like that.
Tool for this once, another year busting out in laughter when he sees the Bears pick.
Well, better hope it's
Ryan
not Genty,
Poles is still there,
bro.
So you should be okay.
Better hope it's not Genty.
I can live with it. As long as they're not getting.
I cannot.
If they're going low value position, great player with premium pick, I can live with that.
No,
Adam
I
Huddle
want
said,
the
"Bring me
I want
all
the
the
premium. I want the premium position bad player pick for the Bears. That's what I would like, personally.
Drew has a dono. Did I hear
Okay.
mock draft? $10. Thank you, Drew. I think that's enough. I think we can. I think we are legally obligated to give the people a mock draft. There's a couple of other comments I wanted to hit real quick. Prince Capsaicin said if Josh Connerly is there at 23, that might be a trade back opportunity if they don't want to go 23.
Yeah, Houston, Kansas City, maybe Washington. I think it's going to be
Drew
possible.
said my Uber driver today said Derek Harmon was here last week. Not sure if that's true. Hasn't been reported anywhere that I've seen. But that could possibly be. I think there's 5 30 visits that we have not heard of. I have 25 names on my list.
Him being one of them wouldn't be surprising.
No, it would not.
That makes sense.
I will say there's a few positions where they have brought in 4 players each. That'd be cornerback, edge, and defensive line. Edge, you could fudge it a little bit because there's 4 like pure edges and 3 kind of pure defensive tackles, and then there's Jordan Birch.
Right. Yep.
I have as an edge player, but there's certainly some fluidity there.
Yeah, athletic. I mean, if he's going to play at 279, yeah.
And then they brought in 6 offensive linemen and 6 wide receivers and 1 quarterback, and that's it. So there's 5 players that we're missing at that point. No safeties, no linebackers. Hopefully that means we're not drafting either. But there's a really good player. I'm obviously down with it, but I hope that's just not where the focus is. So that does make me wonder a little bit if there's some defensive tackles that we're missing. No running backs, no tight ends have been reported. Drew says it does go with my theory that the Packers are trying to hide interest in Harden. Well, here's the thing, though, is like player visits are not like typically leaked by the team. So,
it's true.
I know some people are like huge believers in like all the gamesmanship and the 5D chess of draft season. I don't buy a lot of it. I think maybe there's a little bit of it, but
I would love
more with the stupider teams.
I would love Green Bay to be hiding their interest in Colston Loveland right now, just to go make a move in the first. I know Schneidman had did like a mock on The Athletic where they traded up like 9 spots for Tet. I would rather trade up 9 spots for Loveland than Tet personally.
Last year, the Packers hid their interest in crappy players, so that was exciting for all of us when we found that out. Jake, which position group do you want to start with? Do you want to start with running back?
Sure.
All right, and you and I have not talked leading up to this about like what our strategy is for this. No. So I'll just say when I'm trying to really hone in on Packers types, there's a couple different things I'm looking for. One is
looking for Brian Maffei's big board.
I absolutely start with Brian Maffei's big board, and I look at guys who are Packers fits athletically. That's a huge thing. I also really enjoy completely drawing a blank on his last name, John, over at Blue 58. John.
Oh.
What the heck is his last name?
Oh, shit.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Meerdink. John Meerdink. Yes. Great guy.
Yeah.
I like his strategy that he's worked on for a few years of putting together a rubric system for production. Thank you, Drew. Yeah, Meerdink. For production and traits that gives you tiers 1 through 3 or 1 through 4. And so what I like to do is I like to start with the first tier guys who fit the Packers athletic thresholds and go on from there. And so doing that at running back, a couple of names pop right off the top would be Quinshon Judkins and Taj Brooks. Now, I'm not the biggest Quinshon fan, but my understanding, Jake, is that you and I tonight what we're talking about is not like who we like. We've done that for weeks and weeks. This is all predictive. We're talking about what the Packers are going to like. So I mean, I'm going to talk about a number of players tonight who I'm not a big fan of,
for sure,
or who maybe I'm just lower on than the consensus. And we're going to completely gloss over some players who I absolutely love, who I just think are probably not high on the Packers board. So Quinshon Judkins and Taj Brooks, to me, kind of let Brian Maffei says tiers. Do we pay to use that term? I don't know anything about the reference you're making there. I'm guessing that Jacob Morley uses the term tiers a lot. I'm not sure.
Must, yeah.
Not sure. Most of your most of the top people who talk about the Packers draft, I tend to just not be familiar with what they talk about, to be honest with you. So after those two guys, DJ Giddens and Montrell Johnson Jr. out of Florida, both strike me as being pretty good fits. The production was not quite where I wanted it to be. I'm typically looking for 0.75 touchdowns per game and at least 1 reception per game over the course of a season, which I think is kind of a low bar. And these are two guys who didn't really manage to hit both of those. So but athletically they check everything you're looking for. And they're certainly fun players to watch. Maybe Montrell a little bit more than DJ Giddens, just for my money, but they're both good. Jake, do you want to talk about some running backs?
Yeah. I think really there weren't that many names. Yeah,
I have some more. I'm just letting you talk for a minute.
Yeah, Judkins, but like I don't. I would love for them to find somebody who's different, even slightly. And like it doesn't. When I say different, I'm not saying like, oh, they need to be 185 pounds and super fat. We don't need like it doesn't have to be Devon Achane. Like we don't have to do that. But I would like to see some more explosiveness out of some players that Green Bay brings in. But obviously they have that with Lloyd. They're going to I think bet pretty big on that coming into 2025. But the two that stood out to me in terms of like fits were DJ Giddens and Taj Brooks.
Okay.
Brooks makes chicken soup out of chicken droppings a lot. I think the 3-cone number really reflects how great the lateral agility is. So in terms of like forcing missed tackles, he does it a different way than a Cam Scatterbo would do, which I like a lot. And I think Giddens similarly is very sudden and is very much built to force missed tackles as well. I don't think either are super big home run hitters, but I do really like the footwork, the twitch, all of that from both of those guys. And again, they're both bigger. I think Giddens is like 212. Brooks, I think, is around there as well, 215-ish, I think. So, yeah, I mean, those two stood out for sure. I think, again, if it were me and Tootin was still available in like the 4th, 5th round, like that would be a no-brainer. I think he provides plenty of that. But the two that stood out the most to me are Giddens and Brooks.
And if there was one thing with Brooks that I might nitpick a little bit, and it's not a big deal, the athleticism is good. It's not elite. It's good.
Right.
And for he's a bit of a smaller guy. He's 5'9", 214, and at that size, I'd like to see a better 40 time. The best time I have for him is 4.52, which puts his height adjusted speed score at just a 97. And I'm generally looking for that height adjusted speed score to stay above 100. So
that's fair.
He's borderline and he checks everything else we're looking at. We're nitpicking. All right. That's what we do. 3 days before the draft, we nitpick. A couple other names I wanted to talk about. Trey Henderson.
Please.
The reason that he is lower for me for the purpose of this podcast episode we're doing here, not for like my opinions of him. The production threshold that I'm looking for of 0.75 touchdowns per game and 1 reception per game, he doesn't reach that. And then the other thing that I had is blank, so I can't even look at it. Never mind. That was the one thing that was a little disappointing to me for Trey Henderson, but the relative athletic score is where you want to see it. Brian Maffey marked him as checking just about everything you're looking for. I think that where I was missing something on him was a shuttle and a cone, and so that was why I didn't have him in my top echelon.
I don't think
specifically for the Packers.
Yeah, I don't think he did them. Which again, there's a lot of people out there who didn't do them. So,
yeah, it gets smaller every year too. That's
it is really annoying. And it'd be interesting because I feel like Henderson would be one who would excel at that. So, kind of surprised he didn't do it. But again, maybe it wasn't something he was really training for, and he just wanted to show off the explosion and the speed, and that's totally fine. Listen, you don't have to sell me on Travion. I think he can be your Gibbs. Your Gibbs who pass blocks his butt off also, which, you don't get a lot of those guys. Like the pass blockers at like 210, 215. Yes. Like that's where often you see some of those guys. To do it at 202 and just be an absolute menace out there. Like, I mean, what more do you need to see? I know we're talking Packers, but I don't see why I wouldn't be taking him next after Genty, personally.
Travion.
Yeah.
Travion next after Genty. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's about where I would have it too. Is Genty clear number one, has been for you and me for 2 years at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Travion would be my number two at that point. My number three actually is not Quinshawn. And okay, it's a name that you hear 1,000 times out there. It's Caleb Johnson. Okay. And I understand the concerns with him. He definitely missing the cone and the shuttle and the broad jump and all that stuff, and is a little bit slower than some of his counterparts.
Yeah.
But the production is
Smooth.
is amazing though. His OPS, his wide receiver OPS, 0.81. That is by far the best out of any of the guys that we are talking about here, with the exception of Mr. Travion Henderson, who's at a 0.87.
Heck yes.
I mean, seeing numbers like this for a running back, super duper fun. You care to make a guess who had the best OPS inside the top 200 on the NFL mock draft consensus? Because I got a guy here at
Rashard Smith.
Hold on a second. Where the heck is my number? I'm losing it. Okay. I got a guy here at 243 who had over a 1 OPS. But
it's not Lamb Larison?
Well, that guy was Marcus Yarns from Delaware.
Yarns, okay.
Okay, but inside the top 200.
Not Rashard Smith?
Nope. Actually, you know what? I don't even know if I have Rashard Smith on here, so that might be a... No, I do. He's actually way down there. Oh, okay. That's why I thought I didn't have him, is because he's so far down. He's only at a 0.75.
That's interesting.
No, it's Scadaboo.
Listen, people are not gonna
915.
I know that, like, I think right, Hampton's probably the consensus 2, and I think Caleb's the consensus 3. I only have one of them in my top 5.
I like hearing that, because
I only have one of them in my top 5. I have Scadaboo at 3. I don't care that he ran slow. I don't care. I really don't. He is Montgomery again, man. Truly, just, again, tackle avoidance. Brooks does it one way. Scadaboo does it his way. And I love it. And I, like, finished watching him. I'm like, why are we putting all these guys over him? Like, why is he like RB8 and 10 and 13 for people? Like, I don't understand. He is awesome. He is truly awesome. I cannot get enough of watching Scadaboo play. And
I think I can tell you exactly why people are so down on him.
Why is that?
It's residual Heisman hatred, because
that could be, sure.
Because after he went crazy at the end of the season, there were a lot of people talking about Scadaboo for Heisman, and the people who know stuff looked down on that very much.
I'll be honest.
The peons
I looked down on
Scadaboo for Heisman. Okay,
I looked down on it, but
my
yeah,
point
I get
is
what you're saying.
that those residual feelings remained, and like Scadaboo, because of that, in my opinion, he like caught some stink from the people who are high on their own opinions of the way that things should be. And like, even though we've moved on to a whole separate category of the football season, which is the NFL draft, I think there's still a looking down on him for that. Now, the athleticism for Scadaboo, yeah, it's not amazing. He's not like the fastest dude in the world. He's
right.
I saw a tweet a while ago. It was, if Kyron Williams Is this right? Kyron. Am I getting my Kyrons mixed up? Kyron Williams is the running back, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. If Kyron Williams can be slow or small and slow and great at football, why can't Scatabo be big and slow and good at football?
Oh, for sure.
I was like,
yeah,
all right, I buy it.
And I will say, I was like one of those who was like, okay, I'm not buying this Heisman thing for Scatabo simply because of all the production that was in his conference as well, along with him, right? You're obviously Harvey had an outstanding year. Who else? There were a couple others. I mean, I know Neil had like 16 touchdowns. So and then yeah, I was kind of like, oh, and then obviously Caleb Johnson had 1,521 touchdowns, and it was like very close to on par with Scatabo minus like I don't think he fumbled at all either. And like I'm just like, yeah, there's just so many running backs with a ton of production where I'm like, I'm not buying it unless you listen. The Heisman thing, if we're putting Scatabo at Heisman contention, that tells me that Genty should have won, based on the freaking insane numbers he was putting up. Imagine if they threw him the ball like they did the year before, right? So yeah, that's the only thing. And then when you go down and you break it all down, you go through the film, you go, my goodness, this guy is.
You are correct about Caleb Johnson having 0 fumbles. Also, Trey Henderson has 0, and so did Khalil Mullins.
There you go.
So
the better Michigan running back.
The only decent Michigan running back.
Listen, I know Edwards is explosive, but man, I just remember even having this kind of discussion before his like quote unquote statistical downfall. Of like, man, he has to gather himself to change direction, like very clearly gather himself, and that's just not going to work very well. And also the vision was, we don't have to get into that, but it's not good. It's truly. So anyway,
so a couple other running backs that I want to highlight, so that we can do something about them in the draft if we need to.
Yeah.
I do really like Ollie Gordon as a Packers fit. I think he's like just kind of fringe on everything, and so right now he's projected at pick 130 overall,
which is like that high,
way rich for my blood.
Yeah,
it's way rich for my blood. But if he's there, late on day 3, I'm all in. Again, wish the athleticism was a little bit better. He's only got a 6.21 relative athletic score. Probably not a high target for the Packers. But I think that he's like fringe enough on everything that he should still be considered. Phil Maffa from Clemson.
Right.
Consensus 291. I'm not
so low.
Really sure why he's so low. I mean, we don't have the agilities and stuff for him, and so it makes it a little bit harder to put together a picture of him. But the production wasn't awful. He's a real speedy guy. His height adjusted speed score is a 107, which is right up there with the top guys in this class who we're loving on.
Yeah.
The one area that he was disappointing in to me was as a receiver. I don't think he adds much as a receiver. But he's a good enough blocker, and just as a pure runner, this is a guy I would pick up in the 7th round for sure.
Yeah, if Gordon's going to get bumped down that far as well, I know you said he's at like 130. If he gets bumped into the 200s because of this running back class, like, boy, that could be a discount based on what he did in 23. Really, but. Like just if again Green Bay obviously they're loaded right in the running back room as many would say. I don't know if loaded's the right term, to be honest, because again we haven't seen anything from Lloyd, so that's the main concern for me. I
will just say I don't really care about what a guy who you drafted might become someday. I don't care about that. If you have a guy on your roster who is already that, sure, you can pitch that to me as a case why you should consider passing up a very valuable prospect at the position. I still don't think it's a great argument, but I will at least listen to that. But if the argument is, well, we drafted a guy a year ago, we haven't seen anything from him yet, but we just a year ago we drafted him. Okay, so worst case scenario, you end up with 2 good players at that position. Bummer.
Not to mention, right, this is like a different than an LVN situation where you draft him at 21. Like, Lloyd's already 24. Like, this isn't like let's see the development
now, isn't he? Wasn't he 24 when we drafted him? I think he was 24 when we drafted him. Because we had a big debate on this podcast because we kept leaving Lloyd out of all of our running back conversations because of his age. And then we stopped one day and we were like, okay, but the shelf life on a running back is so short anyways. And it's not like he's put a ton of tread on his tires or, wear on his tread in college. So what do we care what his age is? If we're only going to use him for a few years anyways.
Sure. Yeah.
Adam Huddle said that's not good draft assets management. Okay, but listen, the NFL draft is not a grocery store. You don't go there and say, oh, you know what? We don't have at home. We don't have any running backs at home. Let's make sure we get a running back while we're here. The NFL draft is a giant bag of lotto tickets. The only thing you know about the lotto tickets is what their odds are and what the payout is going to be. So what you're looking for is the tickets that are going to have the highest payout and the highest odds, right? That's what you're looking for. Don't freaking worry about what you have at home, okay? The NFL draft is not a grocery store. Free agency, sure, that's a grocery store. You'll go into free agency trying to patch some holes. If you're trying to patch holes in the draft, buddy, you draft a player, you have no idea if he's going to be good or bad. If he ends up being bad, you still have that same need that you had before you drafted him. So the draft is all about the future. You want guys to be able to hit as rookies, but you can't be depending on that as plan A. Plan A has to be, hey, we have a veteran on our roster who is going to be able to do the job. And yeah, we drafted this guy who has way more potential and we love for him to win the job. And that is the ideal scenario, but that's not plan A. So
yeah, definitely.
You said that's 1,000% what it is. I think you were saying that in response to me saying that it's not a grocery store and you saying it is a grocery store. I think that's what you're saying. Every team lies and drafts for needs almost every pick. Well, almost every team is really stupid. Have you looked at how some of these franchises are run? You looked at their draft records? Go look at the Cleveland Browns. Look at all their draft picks and all their trades. These organizations are not smart.
It's true.
You're talking about, your original comment was that's not good draft assets management. Your draft assets, your draft picks, you are hoping will turn into good players at some point, hopefully sooner. I don't agree with it, but that's how teams treat it.
There's
okay, but I don't care how other teams do it. But I don't care how other teams do it. I'm talking about like for me, what is fun for me about this process is trying to figure out the smartest and best way to do things. Okay, yes, our episode tonight is like trying to predict what the Packers are going to do. But, when Jake and I are talking about, hey, here's what I would do, I don't really care about, factoring in the math of, hey, the Jets are stupid. They might do this. And, so this is how we judge what's good draft strategy. For me, I'm going to judge a strategy based on how well it works. I'm going to look at how the best drafting teams draft. Okay, the Packers are pretty high up there. The Bills and Colts historically have been really high up there as well. All right, these are some of the teams that I do look to as examples of trends that are currently working. The Bears, not so much. All right, go ahead, Jake. Wow. Oh, wait a minute. I just totally forgot. Let me make sure I cover up these logos. Okay, so look.
I found a January 2001 birthday for Lloyd.
So that'd make him 24.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All right,
maybe we were talking about like he's going to be 24 at the end of the rookie season. I don't know. Whatever.
That could be. Or maybe he was 23 and my memory is just, not perfect. I have 2 flavors of Ghost here. These were supplied by the lovely Mrs. Lahey, who also got the donations rolling last week. Appreciate her on both of those counts. And here are the two flavors I have tonight. I'm only going to drink one. I got cherry limeade and Strabango. So I need you guys to help me decide which one is most appropriate for this mock draft that we're doing tonight. We're going to have some Strabangos or a cherry limeade. Wait a minute. Tool for this says, speaking of grocery stores, I found Oreos with crushed Oreos as filling. I think I have diabetes now. All right, well, we're going to have to look at this. I'm sorry, we have to
It's a shame that we can't find Strabango anymore. The economy is struggling.
Oreos with Oreo filling. Is it that's Oreo loaded? I think it is. Let's see here. The most Oreo. Cookies and cream flavored Oreo. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And also,
you need cookies and cream. You need cookies and cream super bad. Just crack the Oreo and blend it, buddy. What are we doing? The most Oreo. That's what the cookies and cream.
This is probably really
is.
stupid.
Dunk into the really Oreo verse.
Tool for this said it was the loaded flavor. Okay,
Oreo 2 into the Oreo verse.
Here we go.
Across the Oreo verse, actually.
I don't see what the difference is between these two, frankly. So it's cookies and cream flavored cream or loaded with real Oreo cookie crumbs.
So is the other one not authentic
using real Oreo cookie crumbs? That would be hilarious. What if this cookies and cream flavored one is using off-brand Oreo cookies to make their filling?
That's whoa.
Maybe this is the title for our podcast tonight. The most Oreo ever.
The birthday cake Oreos. Says Tyler
birthday cake Oreos in a glass of milk made me reach nirvana.
That's funny.
I don't tend to go for birthday
they look
cake
good
flavored stuff.
It looks
good. But this might be the exception.
Interesting.
Let's see. Oh, you can see the sprinkles in there. Birthday cake flavor cream with rainbow sprinkles. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm down for any kind of Oreo, frankly. I don't really go for the golden ones so much, but I basically love. There's what's the new flavor? They just came out with a new flavor, and I had to buy a package of it and then put it up in the pantry. I can't have it yet because I got to do this no sugar thing right now. It's so annoying, and so I have to save this because it's a limited time Oreo. I think it's like a Java chip or something. Java chip Oreo.
Interesting.
So, anyways, but it's going to be a while before I can taste it. But I will report back. If any of you have tried it, let me know if it's worth saving. Drew says no Oreo is worth eating without milk dunking. Fun fact: high school I made an Oreo Facebook group that got 200,000 followers and used it to plug my old YouTube channel.
That's sick.
It's the way to do it, man.
Is it still there?
He says it was in high school. Now, when were you in high school, Tool, for this? Because I've seen your photos and you look like an old man, but I seem to recall that you're like pretty freshly out of high school. Aren't you like 19 or 20? You look much older than that. Although maybe it's just always, the fact that I picture you as Michael Scott. That might be. Drew says, I know a YouTube channel you can plug to 200,000 followers. Yes, please. By the way,
That's
really
why I was
need
asking.
some help.
That's why I was asking.
We need some serious help with our YouTube channel. All right. Our subscriber count is growing so slowly. Oh, too old for this says he's 32. Okay. Well, okay. You look 32. When I said you look old, I meant you look a lot older than the 19 or 20 that I was saying, speculating that you might be. So, my YouTube channel is still there, but the Facebook group got taken down. Why did it get taken down?
Oreo.
That's bull.
Oreo took it down.
Dershel says, tool for this as an Oreo dealer just makes sense. Too old for this is a memes dealer. That's what he is.
Steeler. That's
All right,
good.
can we move on to wide receiver? I think this is the
Sure.
position people are maybe the most excited to talk about.
Okay.
So I got a lot of names. And part of why I have a lot of names is because the Packers brought in a lot of guys for visits at wide receiver. And so if they brought you in for a visit, I'm automatically including you as somebody who I'm gonna mention so that we can draft you. You've come up in the mock draft, all right?
Isaiah Bond?
Not Isaiah Bond.
Okay.
No, I did take him
Okay.
off. I took
Okay.
him off, and I also
Okay.
I wanted to talk about this last week, the Kyron Lacey thing. Because we like to talk about the draft on here, and sometimes we talk about some more serious stuff. And I don't know if you guys know, Kyron Lacey tragically lost his life last week. Really sad, and it's a kind of a sobering reminder that we like joking around here on the live stream and talking about all these prospects, and sometimes we talk crap about prospects. But they're also real people. And, I look at the Kyron Lacey situation, which is super, super sad. And, my heart breaks for him and for his family. And I just, I know that everybody who watches this live stream are good people. We don't have jerks in our chat saying stupid stuff. We got people saying fun stuff and doing memes and stuff. But I would really encourage you all to, talk to your other football friends about the right way to interact with players on social media, because there's a lot of crap that happens that really impacts real people. All right. And especially with these college players, they're just kids. And even the best of them are stupid kids. I mean, like all of us were at that age, right? I was stupid at that age. So just, it's a super sad situation. This was a kid who had a lot of fun being a great college football star. His family was super excited and happy for him, excited for him to move on to this next chapter of his life. There's a horrific accident that, doesn't get handled the right way. And, Kyron's probably looking at missing out on all of his dreams. And the next thing you know, he's gone. And it's just super, super sad. And it didn't have to go this way. So anyways, just, for everywhere where the story went wrong, I still want to raise a glass to this young man who, was snuffed out in what should have been the prime of his life, Very, very sorry.
Thank you, JJ, for doing that, for sure.
Anyways, back to, meaningless draft stuff, right? So here's the 6 guys that the Packers brought in at wide receiver for 30 visits that we know of. 5 guys plus Isaiah Bond. So there's Tetron McMillan, Matthew Golden, Emeka Ibuka, 3 guys who are consensus first rounders. Doesn't mean they're all going to go. And I would say Emeka is, I would say of the 3, he's like the most shakiest consensus. All right. When we're talking consensus, we're literally just looking at the NFL mock draft database website that just aggregates what everybody out here who we're all doing these mock drafts, where do we think he's going? He's the shakiest of the 3 as to whether he's going to be in the first rounder.
And that's an important note, right? The mock draft database consensus big board isn't just polling consensus big boards, right? It's not polling just big boards. It's also polling mock drafts and where players are going. So it's not completely this is the consensus wide receiver 4 based on how many of our draft boards are out there. It obviously has influenced that, but it also is there's some people I know in the industry and respect in the industry that have the burden at wide receiver 8, wide receiver 9, right? But they might have him drafted in the top 40 because that's where, a lot of that expectation is. So it is polling both things on NFL mock draft database.
The other two receivers are Ty Felton and Torrey Horton. Now, we've talked a lot on this channel about Torrey Horton, who's a guy who Jake and I both like a lot. And then we spent a lot of time a week ago talking crap about how much we didn't want to draft Ty Felton. So we'll just leave it at that. Tool for this asks, does this show that they are looking for wide receivers early, or do you think it's gamesmanship? It's hard to know. I'm just going to go on record as saying they should be thinking about drafting wide receiver early because Christian Watson is unavailable, and they should conduct their business as though he will be unavailable all year, because it's stupid to game plan that he will be available at some point, especially to game plan that he would be available early, because it is unrealistic to think that even if he does come back, that he will be back to prime Christian Watson in 2025. All right. That it would be very foolish to make that assumption. So they should be looking for a wide receiver early. I still hold to the notion that I don't think that they would actually pull the trigger on a wide receiver in the first round. I know that they don't have a rule that says we don't draft wide receiver in the first round. I just think it's very easy for Goody to talk himself out of a wide receiver if there's like anybody else available.
It reminds me of Barbosa in the first Pirates of the Caribbean. They're more actual guidelines than rules, right? Like it's just so perfect. That encapsulates it so well with how the Packers treat first round wide receivers. It's kind of like, yeah, we're not against it, but we just don't like doing it because we like what else is there. I feel like that's the perfect way to.
I feel like Goody's answer.
Gosh, we should put that on a short.
I don't think that Goody like answers this way publicly, but I think inside when they ask him like, do you have like a no wide receiver in the first round rule? I think he's like, huh? What? Oh yeah, no, we do it. Whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's how it kind of answers insides. I hope Ibuka invokes the right of parlay, says Tool for this. Heck yeah. And then as far as gamesmanship goes, Jake, do you want to talk about gamesmanship with the NFL draft? It's not something I want to talk about, but if you want to, you can take
it. We could be brief as we kind of push through these positions, but like obviously, there will be certainly teams that have faux interest in players to kind of hopefully drive their demand a little bit higher, so they're going before guys you would really like to fall to you. That's often done with quarterbacks. That's I think receivers is a really good one to do because again that surplus value in drafting a guy round one that you have 5-year control of, relative to where these guys are getting paid, right? Like that matters for sure. But when when you're a team that's hoping to focus on the surplus value of tackle and edge, right? You would love to keep propping up receivers so that teams, believe that, okay, there's plenty of interest around this. Like we're seeing what they're seeing. Let's pull the trigger on a wide receiver early. And that could be what's happening in this class because I think we've talked about this. And I know I like Matthew Golden. I don't think he's as good as Ladd personally as a prospect. I think it's decently close, but I don't think I don't think he clears Ladd at all personally, or Thomas. Mitchell for me personally, that's looking like a miss, but I don't know. We're still there anyway. And then your neighbors, Harrison's, Adunze's, all that. Like I think he, production wise, it's not great, but I do think he can come in and instant impact. Ibuka's kind of the same way of like instant impact, but are you ever going to reach the Brian Thomas? Maybe Ibuka can reach the Amon-Ra St. Brown type of thing. I would think Burden's wider range of outcomes would tell me that he would more likely reach that than others. But Ibuka comes in to be, JSN, right? With maybe a little more arm length, I think, of because I don't think JSN is somebody you're talking about as being a blocker, right? And Ibuka, I think, deserves to get more run in that regard, but and maybe some different usage on top of it. So he is extremely, extremely safe. And I think I think there are issues. I'm not saying that there's so many, I feel like if you say there's definitely some folks out there with Ted. If you say a bad thing about Ted, of like, man, you're just overreacting. You're just a hater. Blah 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 blah. Like you don't need to. They're definitely two big extremes with that, and I think that's where like the true analysis of it all perfectly falls in the middle, and those are the people you should be looking for your coverage. And it's like, well, Ted has issues against press, and the top of route is a problem at times. He should be playing with more physicality in the stem as big as he is, right? Like 6'4" and an eighth, 219, I think, something like that. And he also tips his hand very often of like, yeah, I'm running in and out breaking routes because I'm standing straight up halfway into my stem versus like, no, my shoulders are down and I'm treating this as a vertical route because it is one. There are some issues, and it has to be corrected. And if it doesn't get corrected, could be looking at a guy who's moonlighting on the outside and playing a lot of big slot. Like that is very, very possible with him. And so, some of the top guys in this class maybe aren't reaching the levels of where you've seen in some previous ones, right? 2021 would come to mind. Chase, Smith, Waddle. Maybe you like the top half of 2022 a lot with Wilson, London, Jamo, Olave. I feel like they might not even reach this group isn't quite even to that level per se. So yeah, I think there could be some gamesmanship to that, where Green Bay's like, man, can you just please get Harbin or Nolan to fall to us any way possible, right? Or Grant, perhaps, which I think would be kind of more of a, they're pushing the envelope of like being more of like, this is the true one tech, which I think they would prefer to take later than earlier, right? Especially when, obviously, JJ, we're talking about guys like Caldwell and CJ West, right? And we've talked about Thor Griffith on this pod quite a bit. Like
talking my language now.
Yeah, like there's some one text later that Green Bay could definitely go down the rabbit hole. Maybe they like Tyleek. They brought him in for a visit. They feel comfortable with him in round 2, and he's going to maybe reach that point. Like they don't have to maybe force the issue unless they really, really like the player of Kenneth Grant. So, but again, they could definitely be doing the whole like, yeah, we really like these wide receivers. We're going to take one and hopefully force the hand of other teams who want that surplus value as well at the receiver position, right? Denver, Seattle, Dallas, et cetera. But yeah, that it very well could be the case. And I do think if you're telling me like Green Bay, if Harmon's available, I don't think there's even a question that they're picking him. Just because I think it's as seamless a fit. So doing anything they possibly can to get Harbin to fall to them, or maybe they get him in a slight move up, I think they're going to do everything they can to make that happen. Whether it is, kind of, as we said, the gamesmanship stuff, just kind of like,
man, even if Shamar Stewart's
a little bit of deception. Yes, indeed.
So some other names that I do want to throw out there for a wide receiver, though.
Okay.
For me, DK is hitting everything I need.
Okay.
Out of Florida.
Gotcha.
For a guy who's consensus 230, like just kind of a slam dunk for me. Like just the value is there. I would take him a lot earlier than that. I would not be like ticked if we took him in the 4th round. Okay. I think he's a totally good prospect. What are your thoughts on DK?
I like his teammate better personally. Elijah Badger.
Yeah. Badger will be the next guy on my list to talk about. Yeah.
I think I wouldn't mind DK. I don't know about 4th for me, but I do recognize.
Tell me the difference that you see between those two guys and why you like Badger better. Because I will just tell you, like, from a metric standpoint, they're nearly identical across the board.
Sure.
And then, DK has the agility drills that Badger doesn't. Now, DK's shuttle was a 4.27, which is a little bit slower than what I'm looking for, like ideally. But that's the only yellow flag there.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm remembering this right, I think DK could come in and fill something more for Green Bay in terms of working down the field than Badger, but I think Badger's more complete with the route tree and more complete in terms of transitioning from receiver to runner. And obviously Badger just pretty much catches everything thrown his way. But
yeah, he's 68 almost 69% on contested catches. DK's only at 58%. So there's a gap there for sure.
Yeah, but again, I think, probably for Green Bay, DK might make more sense in terms of there's less redundancy that you're adding to the room. I think personally,
that's
from
true,
an evaluation
Badger's
standpoint,
almost purely a boundary guy.
Right.
DK, I think you can move him around. I think he's more comfortable in the slot. But to your point, we have a lot of those guys who are really comfortable in the slot. Jaden Reed, plenty of guys who are very comfortable in the slot. You'd like to have more options to put outside. Sure, that's fair.
Yeah.
Badger
so
also this past year
go ahead, yeah.
was at 52.5% of his targets went for a first down. So you like to see it. Now, on his career, it's only 39%. But this past year, 52.
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah, for me, I think from the pure evaluation standpoint, I like Badger better. But maybe from a Packers perspective, I think maybe you get a little more juice from DK, and I think that's kind of more of maybe what you're looking for. If you're them of kind of like building the quote unquote basketball team in the room with Watson out, right? And that's, I think both of the Florida guys are there. For me, the tailor-made one of like, this is so much their guy that it hurts. It's actually not. It's not even Higgins. No, I think it's Iobanner from Stanford personally.
Oh yeah,
I just feel like he is going to provide. And again, I think he's a little erratic as a route runner. However, there's pacing,
he's a Packer through and through.
There's pacing. There's tempo. He can win the slant. He can win down the field. Winning down the field is big for this, and I think like and obviously he blocks his butt off, and I think that's what separates him from Harris, especially. Is I think Harris, I actually think Iobanner is a faster player on film than Harris is. Harris has done a great job winning balls down the field, even without that elite speed, which I think is good. I do think both are a little erratic as the route runners, especially on the intermediate stuff, but the pacing that Iobanner can play with and a little bit more acceleration, maybe built a little bit more of the running back look to him, and what he did to Hunter, I feel like they're going to like him a lot. And they haven't brought him in, and I think that's fine. They love the West Coast. That really hasn't changed a whole lot. Like, I feel like he is the guy. I know Harris and Higgins are two others that make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Iobanner, I think, brings just a bit more juice in the short area and, in terms of being able to kind of lengthen your distance from a guy, with that deep separation down the field. Like, I think he's going to provide a little bit more of that. Higgins, I think, has some things to round out if you want him to play the X. Whereas Iobanner, he's got the best route tempo, change up the pace of the three of them at this point.
Jake, we do have a problem.
And I think he's the youngest of the three, if I'm not mistaken.
Iobanner is 21, almost 22 years old. Harris is 23.1. Who is the other guy you wanted to
Higgins.
say? Oh, Higgins. I don't have an age for Higgins.
Let me see if I can get one.
I don't have an age for him. Some other really young guys in this class, Isaiah Bond.
Those two would be close
Matthew
then,
Golden.
because Higgins has played 4 years of college.
Luther Burden is 21.4. That's I like to say that. Jake, we have a problem. We are at 65 minutes, and we've only made it through 1.5 position groups, and we still have to do a mock draft.
We do. Okay, here we go. Tight end, one player. Who is it?
Well, hold on. I won't talk about these players, but can I just throw some names out so they're available for our mock draft?
For sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Some wide receivers that we didn't do. Isaac Tesla, Sam Brown Jr., Andrew Armstrong, Isaiah Nayor, Will Shepard, Pat Bryant, Jade Walker, Luther Burden, Savion Williams. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we can move on to tight end.
There we go.
So you want one name for me on tight end?
Higgins is 22, says Drew. They must have been been similar, because obviously Higgins has done. But there we go.
Okay, well, I mean, if I was going to go just one name, I would go Terrence Ferguson. But there's 5 names that I like.
All right, you can rattle them off.
So the other 4 would be Jalen Conyers, and Rodney Gadsden, Thomas Fedone II, and Carter Runyon. Those are the guys that I like as Packer fits. Now, some guys who are kind of fringe for me: Ben Urasek out of Georgia, Gavin Bartholomew out of Pitt. I didn't think he had a fantastic season, but he's very athletic, and I think he's a borderline fit. And then Mason Taylor would be another guy out of LSU. Yeah. I think Mason Taylor is again just pretty borderline. I think he's one of the better tight ends in this class.
Yeah, my only issue with Taylor is like, can he actually jump? And as we've talked about on this pod, he did not do a vertical, and I'm not surprised. Truly, like when you watch him at the catch point, sometimes it's kind of like, is that all he got? Like jumping up in the air, it's very weird. But he's very. I would love Ferguson. I think. To me, he is rounding into form more as an inline player, and he's a little south of 250. But I think if you can have him, be able to be interchangeable with Kraft, that's a massive win for your team. If you have a guy joining this team who can only play receiver, big red flag unless they're very, very, very good at receiver. Gadsden might fit into that. But I'm glad that Gadsden's added weight, and he's up to 243, somewhere around there. I like that he's moving that direction. But yes, I think Bartholomew's an interesting one for sure. And yes, absolutely had Conyers on there. If a guy like that, yeah. Because athletically, I mean, that 3-cone is nuts. Better 3-cone than Fannin with 19 pounds heavier. Sicko stuff.
Are there any other tight ends that you think we need to highlight here so we could take them in our draft?
How do I spell that?
Okay. So I listed 5 tight ends. Which were the ones that you?
I said Conyers, Ferguson, Gadsden, and Bartholomew.
So you're adding Bartholomew. I kind of mentioned him in like my secondary tier.
You did.
Okay, so that gives us. So you didn't add any new names there. So we got
9.2 RAS for Conyers. Is he the Tip Ryman this year? I'm just saying. There's always one. There's always one of those. Super athletic. Maybe goes a little bit earlier than you would think. Could be in play on day 2.
When it comes to offensive line, I have so many names. I don't even want to do them all because we're just going to be here for
Logan Brown.
Forever.
I'll
just tell you, I have
Connerly.
I have 30 names here at offensive line.
Okay,
who I think are good Packers fits.
It's fine. You don't have to name them all, but I'll believe you that they're on the board for you when the time comes.
But you especially like Logan Brown. I did want to highlight 2. There's 2 offensive linemen who you and I have really liked for kind of a while who came in for visits with the Packers, and that would be Pole and Washington State's Jacob Bayer. So those are 2 guys who would be fun if they ended up with the Packers because we've been watching them for a minute.
Yeah. Pole would be awesome. I truly. I know nobody wants this necessarily of like, oh, you're taking O-line early, but like Donovan Jackson would be so nice to add to this team. And people are like, oh no, another versatile guy who could play tackle in the pinch and then play guard. But what if he takes over left tackle next year, guys? What if he takes over there?
I don't see any reason why he couldn't. I thought he was better outside than he was
inside. It did
inside.
seem like it, honestly. Once he got his legs under him a little bit out there, it was like, okay, we've started to figure this out.
And the Buckeyes talked for a bunch of years about how his natural fit was at tackle. And then they just refused to move him there. So
yeah. Okay. We got these guys coming in. We're going this direction. Okay. I would be. I threw out the the Ibuka Jackson start. I don't think it's going to be possible. I can't imagine teams are going to let Donovan Jackson fall to 54 of all places. I think the Bengals need it now in the first round, honestly. So truly, no joke, if the top guys are off the board, Dallas was at their best when they did O-line early and often and just said, no, not the projects. We're going to grab like the players who can come in immediately. Like not necessarily Tyler Guyton's, but the Tyler Smith thing has worked for them. But I think it was more of like a technique issue, and he was still finding ways to win without it. But like if they brought in Jackson, solidified that line, they go Henderson round 2, goodness sakes.
I'll tell you the problem with Donovan Jackson that I have is the 4.84 shuttle time.
Yeah,
and I care about shuttle a lot for offensive linemen. So
it isn't a good time. That's for sure.
It's not. It's a pretty stinky time.
It is.
His broad was not good either, but I don't care about a broad.
But if you're Green Bay, and this is the thing, right? He could be the fallback of like if he's just going to be the right guard, or Banks is moving right, whatever it may be. This is a group that, with Jenkins at center, can punch you in the face. And I like that on the interior, honestly. Because, again, I thought Jacobs coming in right at running back was a signal of like, no, we're not doing just zone anymore. We're moving that way to gap stuff as well. And they certainly did. They got more diverse with the run game, and I like that. So if they want to do it, sure. And if you want him to be the guard, excellent. That means you have the plans for Walker or Morgan to be the tackle going forward, and that's how you see it. And I'm totally fine with that. So, totally fine with it.
So, do you want to hit any other offensive line before we move on to defensive interior?
Other than the top 30s, I don't think there's a whole lot. I think there was maybe one more.
There are a couple of top 30s I didn't hit, and that would be NC State's Anthony Belton, primarily a tackle. I was a little surprised they brought him in. Just, was not really on my radar from an athletic standpoint. Dalton Cooper out of Oklahoma State. Man, Dalton Cooper to me feels like a Cowboy. I'm just saying. He feels like a Dallas Cowboy to me.
I got one more. The other Kansas guy, Bryce Cabeldue.
Yeah, I have him on my list.
That's one as well. Because I believe he played tackle, and if you want him to kick inside, that makes a lot. Like these two Kansas guys, I'm digging both of the Kansas guys in the mid rounds.
Bryce played 2,400 snaps this past year at right tackle, 637 at left tackle.
Perfect. Kick inside, my guy. That's Green Bay. All right, D-line.
Okay, D-line. So here are the 30 visits. South Carolina's T.J. Sanders, Ohio State's Tedrick Williams, and Ole Miss's Walter Nolan. I know a lot of people were really excited about Walter Nolan coming in to visit, including yours truly.
Heck yeah.
So some names that I have then who didn't come in for visits. Am I biased? Yes.
Yeah. Do it.
My number one guy.
Do it.
In terms of just hitting literally everything I'm looking for.
Man.
So you know exactly where I'm going.
Yeah.
You know exactly where I'm going.
How can I not know? We're on this train, man.
Okay.
I ride with you.
I'm gonna count down from 3, and we're gonna say the name at the same time. Ready?
I'm worried.
3, 2, 1.
Darius Alexander. No, it's Ty.
It's Ty Robinson. Yeah,
the 288 fella. Dang, I thought for sure, just based on how he tested, Alexander checked that box.
Darius is on my list for sure. But I'm just saying, Ty hits more of the things I'm looking for. So in terms of at Ty Robinson being number 1 on here, I mean he's the guy who I'm the most certain they would take a swing at if he's available. But Darius is on my list. Yeah.
Desmond Watson.
You know the big difference in terms of like certainty for Darius Alexander versus Ty Robinson, and again, it's also about the draft capital he'd have to expend to get one of these guys
for sure.
But Ty Robinson 1.38 impact plays per game, Darius Alexander 0.92.
That's surprising.
It is, yeah. Both fantastic players. Obviously, okay, who would I rather have on my roster? Darius Alexander. Who do I think is, the highest lock of ending up Packer? Ty Robinson. Some of the names I got on here: Jared Harrison Hunt, Derek Harmon, obviously, Joshua Farmer, CJ West from Indiana.
Yes.
Cam Horsley from BC, another Northern guy. Javari Ritzy from North Carolina. Keontae Hamilton, Rutgers. Peyton Page, Clemson. Ty Hamilton, Ohio State. Vernon Broughton, Texas. And Warren Brinson from Georgia. That's my entire list. Any names that I didn't hit who you think should be Packers locks here?
I don't.
Hey, Chris. Nice to see you again.
Think so. You said Broughton, right?
Mm-hmm.
You did. Okay. Yeah, that. Yes, sir. Farmer feels
some notable names I'm leaving off.
Very them. Horsley, I do like as well. I think be interesting to see him play nose at 312. But then again, Kenny, man, he's been doing it. So I really dig the idea of again Farmer at 35 1/4 arm length is nuts. It feels like it just dwarfs Alexander at 34, which is hilarious. But yeah, I think, man, Farmer's so dang inconsistent. But if they could get him to be consistent down to down, look out. Truly.
All right, here's
a
guy.
ceiling is the roof situation.
Can we talk about a notable name that got left off here? Who is? It's not impossible that he is available for the Packers to pick. I think unlikely, certainly unlikely, but not impossible. I left Kenneth Grant off the list. He is a big boy at 331. Would the Packers take him in the first round if he's there?
Yeah, this is the tough one to wrestle with because one, it certainly solves a problem they would have, and if they want to commit more to the secondary, they can do that. If they want to feel like they have the ability to unleash Wyatt as the 3 tech, this would help them do it. I obviously Harmon would as well, and Harmon can be more flexible, but if they want the 1 tech to, take on the doubles, be a little more sudden than you think you might be at 330, like he would be the guy. But however, I think the amount of day 2 and 3 nose tackles are going to push them away from it. I think they would like a guy who gets after the passer a little bit more. The Harmons, the Nolans, right?
And it's a nice deep class.
It is. It truly. Like a CJ West in round 3. Yeah, let's do that, right? You want to get Jamari Caldwell has some things to iron out. JJ Pegues, like there are options.
Hold on, are you putting those guys on your list? CJ West and JJ Pegues?
I guess. I mean, I think they're just going to be more options. I think Biggers is probably more likely, and Horsley, obviously West, I would still put in there. So
Pegues kind of scared me away. The athleticism. He only had a 4.82 relative athletic score, and he's almost 24 years old. I did not put him on my predictive list for the Packers.
Yeah, Tyleek,
like him as a player.
There are so many options at nose tackle that I just feel like they don't have to do that at 23 if they're really like wanting that 1 tech. Like they seem to have just wanted to address it later, and they're much more comfortable having the Kenny Clark flexibility guy, and that's Harmon. That's Harmon to me. Of like, yep, take the double teams on, but also can shift over to rush the passer when you really want to, make your front pretty nasty on your 3rd 7s and longer.
I think the board would have to fall really unfortunately to not have any defensive tackles available at pick 23 that are worth the 23rd overall pick.
Yeah.
I think there's just enough guys. I do see. So Adam Huddle asked about Shamar Turner. Here's the thing with Shamar. I just don't have enough information about him, to be honest with you. He had, I thought, a pretty bad year in 2024. he was a lot better in 2023. I thought his 2024 season was kind of unfortunate. And then I'm just, I don't have any of his testing numbers. He didn't do any of the drills at all. So for that reason, I just can't put him there. But if we take him, I'm not going to be throwing my hands up in the air. I'm going to be going, okay, well, thank God the Packers actually have information on him, because I don't.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I feel like he's a little more inconsistent in line with Farmer. Like, yeah, I guess kind of. I know the testing was incomplete. Too old for this. Asking about Sanders at 54. Yeah, I think so. Again,
well, he's consensus 59 on the big board,
okay.
So that's certainly borderline. About whether he'd be there for 54 or not. I would lean toward yes, but it's borderline.
Yeah, I think he would be. I don't know. I think it's fine. I think he's fine. Sanders is. I wouldn't be tripping over myself to go get him. But again, 3 tech, he makes sense in that regard if you want to add more at that position. Right, has the 2-hand swipe, but I feel like he doesn't hold his ground as well as I would like him to. And that's not even against doubles. That's just 1v1s. Mm-hmm. So, I feel like, again, when you watch Carl Brooks play, I feel like I would trust him more just handling 1v1s in the run game than him. But so Sanders would be fine. I wouldn't love that personally, but I would understand it. You want to get more pressure. That's one way to do it for sure. I know Chris is asking about Tyreek having a lot of pass rush. Not really. I trust probably West a little bit more in that regard. But probably Tyreek's still probably better in terms of the true nose tackle, defending the run, the technique is a little bit better. But yeah, the D tackle class is loaded. There's a lot of names there.
Yeah, you want to talk about a class that's not loaded? Frickin' edge rusher. Hate this class.
This is a tough
So the Packers brought in James Pierce. I would be pretty surprised if he is available to them at 23.
I think
there's a lot of reasons looking at James Pierce on paper that you would say, oh, the Packers would never go for this. Clearly they're considering it. Clearly he's somebody that they are willing to consider. And you want production, baby, he's your guy. Production and athleticism, it's all there. The athletic profile, not so much. This is a pretty small dude. Now he's tall. He's 6'5", but he's only 245 pounds. He's got short arms. He has big hands and big nothing else, basically.
Yep.
But I like James Pierce a lot. I always have. It's been a little bit sad watching him continue to tumble further and further and further and further and further in the consensus rankings. I mean, there was a long time where James Pierce was like the consensus, first or second player taken off the board.
Yep.
That was a long time ago.
I think it's just the way the NFL's trending, right? I know there's still 3-4, and I think he does a fine job against the run, right? I think there's enough extension. He handles the tight ends. He can obviously has the athleticism to move around guys if he's allowed to, and not removing himself from the fit necessarily. But I think it would just be very strange, in my opinion, for Green Bay to make a move like that. And I know Chris is putting in Ezeraku. He's another one I feel like is not quite where they're looking for. Same with Mike Green, and that's not even including what Mike Green's off-field stuff. But those are the guys I feel like are just a little bit too light. Kennard is teetering on that as well at 254. I just feel like the guys have to be bigger. And to that point, obviously Stewart, obviously Mykal Williams, right? Those are two guarantees, right? When you talk about first-round guys, Scorton's probably still somebody they were considering. He's 257. I know he played set around 275, 280. I don't think he wants to play at that weight. I don't think he's as springy as he needs to be at that weight. Two others, Landon Jackson, JT Tuimoloau, right, are other ones that are right there. Braden Swinson is probably the lightest one I would consider at 255, but I think there's I think enough there. He is a little bit out of position at times. Like Stewart, there are times where the play fakes and all that stuff completely take him out of the play. Obviously, coaching and understanding scheme, and that'll certainly help with him. But that's where I'm at there. Oladejo's another one that is just on that line a little bit. And then two others I would throw in Fadil Diggs and also Tyler Barron from Miami.
Oh, Tyler Barron. I did not consider him, actually.
He's got the short shuttle 3 cones. The short shuttle 3 cone numbers aren't the best. But again, he's going to be a guy day 3, and I think he's still somebody that's going to be in consideration. Maybe not as much as Diggs on day 3, but certainly there. And I thought I got to look at Ja Joyner because I'm pretty sure.
Now, did you say Jordan Birch?
I didn't.
I'm
struggling where to place him.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple tweeners in this class who I like. I like Jordan Birch. I like Elijah Williams from Morgan State.
Okay.
And let me just enunciate. That's Morgan State, not Oregon State.
Right.
Just in case. And he's a guy, I think in the NFL, he probably would have to play on the outside. I kind of would prefer to have him on the inside.
Yeah.
But he's only 6'3". He's like textbook tweener and played at a small school. So there's some issues there for sure. But on paper, love the dude. And then I also just like watching him play too. Okay. I had not considered Tyler Barron, but I'm going to co-sign on that. I think Tyler Barron should be out there. You had Landon Jackson. I am putting Jordan Birch on there. Go ahead.
Okay. I know Adam says Sorrell. I think it's just the arm length issue. I think it's like 32 1/4, which isn't quite.
It is 32 1/4. He's also only 256 pounds. That's a little light.
He is. But if I'm including Swinson, I guess, athleticism there. But I feel like he's, again, at his 256 to me isn't quite the same as Swinson's 255, just in terms of how they play. But again, Sorrell he's one of those mid-round guys who you talk about the ceiling being super, super high with a player like that. And maybe Green Bay's interested, but I think it could be the arm length thing. This scheme, this very, very big shift that we're getting back to more of run game under center play action. You just got to be bigger in this scheme. Prince kept saying Ivy's more of a tweener. He might be the most difficult tweener to figure out, but I feel like his testing he was the one, I think. Well, him and I think Big Hughes wasn't good either, right?
Right.
Oh, Ivy's was fine as a D tackle. But remember, he's 274. And if I remember, his is like defensive end, it's a 2. And he kind of looks that stiff and clunky when he moves. So that's the big drag down there for me.
Did we forget to hit the 3 other names that Green Bay brought in for visits besides James
Roberts?
Pierce?
You think about Roberts?
Elijah Roberts, Mikael Williams, and Shamar Stewart.
I did hit Stewart and Williams. Roberts is the biggest tweener there is.
Yeah.
It is interesting playing at 290 and all that. It's very difficult to figure out what he's going to do. I would imagine it's going to be 3 tech, but
So I got JT, Savion Jones, Oladejo, Tyler Batty, Braden Swinson, Nick Scourton, and then kind of some fringe guys: Fadil Diggs, Donovan Ezeraku, Colin Oliver out of Oklahoma State, Elijah Williams, Morgan State, who we talked about. And then give me Elijah Ponder from Cal Poly.
Yep.
Okay. I also have some eyeballs on Mike Green. There's some major off-the-field stuff in his past. Yeah. He got dismissed from where was he? A&M?
Virginia.
Thank you. Yeah, he got dismissed from Virginia. Landed in Marshall. And it's a super small school. Fantastic football player. Just strikes me as a player the Packers are probably not going to touch with a 10-foot pole. I think that might be it. Ashton, I guess. Did you talk about Ashton?
I did not.
So, there's,
I like Ashton.
he's not a perfect athletic fit. Mostly
Right.
it's just the really short arms.
Yeah.
Which is the same problem I had with Antoine Powell-Ryland as well. But those would be the guys at edge. Stinky class overall. I don't like the edge class. There are some good players in here, but the depth is just not here at all.
And it stinks because I think a lot of the better ones are just not 4-3 ends, which is a very difficult thing. Like Abdul Carter, would Green Bay pick him? Would they play him at linebacker? Truly. Would they play him at linebacker? Probably.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that has been the question.
And obviously
and
Walker
I've been on the record
too,
a bunch of times saying that I think that Abdul Carter not being, the number one player off the board is like a travesty and an embarrassment, despite the fact that Travis Hunter is in this draft. And I love Travis Hunter. Abdul Carter should be the first player off the board, and yet would the Packers pick him?
That's
a number one pick.
To play edge, right? I think they would certainly consider him if he was like willing to play linebacker for them. But like it's a very, very weird conversation. Again, Carter, Ezaraku, Green, Pierce.
And we'll have to see
think
as we
any
get
of them,
deeper into the Jeff Hafley era and find out more about Jeff Hafley. But
I just don't think it's any of them, which is a crazy thing.
Another notable-ish name that I'm leaving off of here would be never mind. We don't have time to get that. Let's move on because
I got four
names.
I have 4 names at linebacker real fast. Campbell and Schlesinger, Buchanan, and Cody Lindenberg. Those are my 4. That's it.
Campbell, Schwesker, Buchanan, and Lindenberg.
Yep.
Okay. The only other name I'm going to add to that list really would be Demetrius Knight Jr. out of South Carolina.
That's fair.
I just I don't even bother scouting linebacker. I really don't. I don't think anybody's good at it.
A very tough thing to do. Like truly, like the instincts and where they're supposed to be and what the play demands are just. I would love to say I understand it. I don't. Right, I'm not there. I'm not at the beatings. I don't know if you're in the right gap or not necessarily. I know you can get off blocks and run, and that's the problem, right? We see these guys run around, and we go, okay, well, they cover a lot of ground. That's good. Not always good. Not always good, my friends. So that's the difficult part about this position. And would I love the idea of getting a guy like Buchanan? Yes, for sure. Because with the linebacker position, right, as we kind of talked about, this surplus value, the opportunity cost, all of that at the top of the draft, like what you're passing up to draft a position where the hit rates aren't super ideal, especially when you got, the kind of hybrid players. Jalen Walker's joining a very interesting group of guys when he gets picked in the first round on Thursday. A very, very interesting group that you usually don't want to be a part of. So that it's tough.
Looking at do you want to do cornerback and nickel and safety all together, or do you want to split corner?
Yeah, we can do it all together for the secondary.
Okay.
I imagine there's not going to be like a ton of safety discussion. So
no, probably not. I have a few guys who are like pretty clear standouts. Yeah. And that'd be Trey Amos and Jahdae Barron. To me, stand head and shoulders above everybody else as being Packer fits. Some secondary guys would be Jason Marshall Jr. out of Florida.
Yeah, that's
Savon Revel, Darian Porter. He's a little bit lower for me as a Packer fit.
Yeah, I mean, Packer fit off the charts. Player who's 23, 24, still learning how to play corner off of wide receiver.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy. I don't know, man. I know he allowed a 4.7 pass rating last year. I get it. But
here's a few day 3, maybe late day 3 guys that I think project nicely to the Packers. Craig Woodson out of Cal, Toledo's Maxon Hook, and Minnesota's Jack Henderson.
Maxon Hook's interesting. Yep. I like that one. Let's see.
Obviously, Emin is a
sure.
fantastic,
no question.
Fantastic fit, fantastic player.
Yes.
I do. I do like Dean Clark out of Fresno State. He's another day 3 guy.
Yeah.
Also, Donovan McMillan from Pitt and R.J. Moten from Florida. Those are kind of
Pit DBs, man. They
Yeah.
stick. Even if they're not the greatest players in the league, they stick in the league for a while. Their DBs they put a ton of pressure on them, on the back end of that defense. And so that's a good shout. Is bring up a Pitt guy on in the secondary. Probably going to help your room out. I have Porter. Caleb Ransaw from Tulane is going to join the list. Amos. I'm going to put Azareye'h Thomas in there, even though the 4.58 wasn't superb.
Just because he's such a good player?
Yeah, I got to put him in there. Just everything else, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think checks out. So, yeah, I have to leave him in there. You mentioned Savone Revel. Tommy Hill, probably from Nebraska, is another.
Yeah. Tommy Hill is a good pull. And I'll throw another name at you. Actually, Brian Maffey brought this one up on my radar. Corey Black out of Oklahoma State, I think, is kind of a nice fit. Really not the most athletic guy out there, but he's an option.
Yeah.
Quincy Riley and Ben Morrison.
Yep, for sure.
Did I say Darian Porter already? I'm also going to throw Jordan Hancock on there.
Jordan Hancock, yep. Hunter Wohler at safety.
That's the next place I was going, was Hunter Wohler.
Katan Crawford from Nevada. It's another guy who really got to a couple games. I really like what I see there.
Yeah, Crawford for me is very fringe. Obviously, what you like the most about him would be the athleticism, and then he had a really nice PFF grade last year. His coverage grade kind of carried it, an 88 coverage grade. So, love to see that. I don't know for sure that I see his future being at free safety per se. I don't know. He's a little bit of a smaller guy. I kind of like him more as a nickel, to be honest.
I agree.
So, but he's a day 3 guy. It'd also be fun to have 2 Catans on the roster in the same backfield. So
yeah, it would.
I'll throw last couple names out to you. Did you already say Kevin Winston Jr.?
I did not, but
I'll say Kevin Winston Jr. out of Penn State. Shaquan Loyal from Rutgers, Malik Verdon, Iowa State, Trey Rucker, Oklahoma State. Craig Woodson, did I already say him out of Cal?
I don't know. We've been throwing him out.
He's another day 3 guy. Here's a really deep pull. This guy is in the consensus mid 400s. Maryland's Glendon Miller. And then Clemson's R.J. Mickens.
There we go.
Guy who kind of just missed the cut for me. And honestly, the only reason he was on my list for so long is just because I love watching him play.
Yeah.
Xavier Watts. He's just not I just don't think that the athleticism is where the Packers need at all for a guy who's projected in the second round. And he's old. He's 23 and a half years old.
And yet, RAS is some of these safeties, though. If you can be ahead of everybody else, that helps.
That is true.
So,
all right.
Let's do the
quarterback. I got Taylor Elgersma.
Oh.
However the heck you're supposed to say the name of the Canadian player who we can't find any tape on,
Some people can find it.
Did you watch anything on him?
No. Other than being down at the Senior Bowl where he was. But you could kind of tell it was like he's got to get up to speed some more for sure. So,
other than Taylor, I think there's only 3 quarterbacks who I can really put there. KJ Jefferson to me is like kind of fringe-ish. But Curtis Rourke, Jackson Dart, and Will Howard would be the 3 guys who I think maybe have some sort of outside shot at being Packers fits. There's a handful of guys who are like true fringes. That'd be Brady Cook, Donovan Smith, Kyle McCord, Max Brosmer, Riley Leonard, and Tyler Shuck. They're all fringe.
Yeah. How about Arnaud Desjardins from the CFL?
I actually was looking at his name earlier today, but did not bother to watch anything on him.
He's got some CFL highlights out there. I might turn that on. Let's see.
I love football. Right. I don't know if I love football. I should watch the CFL.
All right.
All right. Let's do our mock draft.
Yep.
Remember, we can only draft guys who were mentioned. And I think our goal of this mock draft should be to try and get as realistic as possible to Packers. Why the heck is this not letting me?
Tyler Dershowitz asked if Willie Lampkin's going to get drafted. It's possible. It's possible. Going to have to play him at center at 5'10", 270, but it's possible he gets drafted. We'll see. I would say more likely than not he isn't, but you never know. Prince Capsaicin asked about Chris Paul Jr. too light and less than 30-inch arm length issues. Yeah, that would be it for sure. I think Green Bay has to stay big at linebacker, especially if they're going to keep playing Philly and Detroit and San Francisco and all these teams that are going to be about running the football. So with it coming back, it's going to be difficult to avoid that.
Jake, my PFF is not working. Do you want to screen share your PFF, or do we want to use a different sim? Okay.
Let's do it.
Ooh, this will be interesting. I'm not driving this time. I can just sit back and read the comments. This is gonna be fun
because we're gonna get to pick.
Is there a bomb about to go off? Somebody's pizza rolls.
No, it's the fridge. It's actually the fridge. Funny enough. All right, here we go.
Thank you, Drew, for sponsoring this mock draft. I hope you're still in here. I haven't seen a comment from you in a minute. I hope you're still here to see your.
Here we go. We are
the last comment I see from you is like
at turbo speed.
A minute ago. What is it?
As Raku, Shadur goes to Seattle, Jalen Walker, Simmons, Johnson, Mykal Williams, Indy.
Yeah,
no Golden, no McMillan. So, yeah, this is, again, Kenneth Grant, Trey Amos. And, of course, everyone's favorite, Mr. Derek Harmon on the board. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously.
Io Manor's never going to be there in this simulator at 54.
I don't think he'll. It's borderline whether he'd be there in real life. Coach Len says, "Go Pack, go!" Coach,
what's going on?
Go Pack, go! So Trey Amos being here.
It's got. I mean,
Amos James
and Harmon,
Pierce.
He is.
You think the Packers would? Oh, Kelvin Banks is here. Interesting.
Yes, Kelvin Banks is here.
We did take Kelvin Banks in our thing earlier. Did you say Colson? Because I didn't say Colson.
No.
He's unavailable then.
Let's see here.
I said Trey Amos. I said Ben Morrison.
Did Ward at least go first? Yeah, he did. I mean, this isn't that crazy. The
top
going.
The top of this draft is not really weird. It kind of got weird in the second half.
Well, it gets weird anytime San Francisco. I have no idea what you're doing taking Golden there. It doesn't make any sense.
San Francisco is probably going to go Will Johnson.
They would probably take Harmon.
If Johnson's there, I think they'll take Johnson. If he's not there, then they would take Harmon.
I kind of think Johnson falls to a point where, you start to get that thought in your head at 2-3 of like, hey, maybe we should think about it.
All right, here, start at the top of who's available and scroll really slow.
That low at 30th. I don't feel like that's super low. We didn't mention Starks, which stinks. I don't remember if we mentioned Burden or not.
I did say Burden. I did not say Starks. And I did not take Grant.
Okay.
Did you? I think we both agreed no on Grant, right?
I think we agreed that we talked about it, that it wasn't going to be a thing. We mentioned Amos, right? We mentioned Scorton. We mentioned Winston. We mentioned Io Manor and Higgins and Jackson. Actually, we didn't mention Besh. That's tough. And we obviously mentioned Harmon and Revel.
Yeah, I mean, here's the question.
I think it's here. Truly, I think it's.
And I like it. It's a little hard for me to take Amos when Harmon is sitting here. I will.
Well, I think we take.
Can you
Harmon.
slowly scroll down a little bit below Harmon, just real slow?
Harrison, Revel, Jackson, Swinson, Booker, Alexander, Uman Mielen, Scatabo, Knight, Schwess.
So I think it's either got to be Trey or Derek. So chat, weigh in, help us figure out who's the more Harmon. Realistic pick here.
The pick is Harmon. I don't think he's going to be available, so it'll probably be Amos.
And that's part of the problem.
Right, it is, certainly. Do we act like Harmon's not here? Or do we just feast on PFF's insane ranking of Harmon at 42?
I think for the realism factor, we're going to have to go
we're going to pretend.
Amos.
Yeah. We're going to pretend.
Dershel says draft the long snapper.
All right, we're going to go Amos. I think the 3-tech is more
saddens me that
important.
Drew is not in here watching this right now because he sponsored
Norman
this.
Lott.
Oh, wait, no, he was. 3 minutes ago, he commented. This is a crazy
Norman
draft.
Lott.
Drew, thank you. Thank you for sponsoring.
Boy.
Oh, did I
It gets a little weird when you don't take it. Yeah, but Vernon Roth is still here. So.
Friendly reminder, and I know you guys donate to us all the time. Friendly reminder. Okay, so I'm going to the draft.
Here we go. Right here.
All of my fun money on this trip is coming from donations tonight. So right now I have $5 to spend on this trip. Okay? It's $5 got to go to my
This feels like the way.
Oh, I thought you already drafted him. Yeah, go with
I think it's got to be Trey Harris.
Trey Amos. I think it's Trey. Scroll down. I was looking at the comments.
Winston,
I was not looking at
Norman Lott.
Did you say Norman Lott? I don't think I said Norman Lott.
No, I was just reading.
I did say Henderson.
We didn't mention Kyle Williams.
Nope, because I did not claim him.
Too small.
I did take Darian Porter and Quinshawn.
We mentioned Harris. We mentioned West.
I'm telling you what, man.
Trey.
I'm leaning Trey Henderson here, but Oladeo's here as well. Tool for this said, I donate, but I'm broke. I'm bad at finances.
I do feel like predictively it's here.
I mean, I like Trey Harris. I think that a lot of people would be ticked at Trey Harris going here to the Packers.
For sure.
It'd be kind of interesting to go Ole Miss here.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, do we think that Henderson realistically, like Harmon, same kind of scenario where it's like, is Henderson really going to be available at 54? He shouldn't be.
Well, Adam's saying he doesn't think they would take a second-round running back. I mean, they did just take A.J. Dillon a few years ago in the second round, and they took Marshawn Lloyd last year in round 3.
Yeah.
What do you mean they needed?
They did the Dillon thing because they needed the hammer, right?
Yeah, and then he ended up basically not even playing.
Right.
To be honest. And they just played Jamal Williams for a year.
Yeah.
So
I think predictably it's Harris. Again, and this is somebody who loves the idea of Henderson. I don't like passing on it, but it makes sense.
I don't know.
I like it. I like it. I don't love it.
I don't know if I co-sign on this being the second round pick here.
I mean, we could go Henderson, but I fear we will not get as many right.
Can we look at
Again, I think
you
Isle
pull-
Manor's the guy here.
Can you
I
just
think he's
pull
gonna
up
be
all the
available.
offensive line?
Yeah. I think Isle Manor's going to be here, and I think he's going to be the pick, personally.
Can you throw the interior on here as well?
Yeah, for sure.
So Jared Wilson and Jalen Rivers I have. Io Manor in the second round. That's an interesting theory.
I think he's the pick there. That's my predictive call. I think he's going to be the pick there. Obviously, we didn't have any chance of doing it here. Probably
now, what about the
31st
Calebs?
or
Caleb Rogers and Caleb Ransaw.
He went 35th. That's crazy. Is Ransaw even on this simulator? I don't even think he is.
Corey Black is.
Truly insane that he's not here, unless he's listed as safety.
Just put it as all and just search Caleb.
There he is.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, he's there at safety. That's why.
But Caleb Rogers.
Oh, the O-line. I think he's interior.
Just hit search there. There you go.
Yeah, here. He's on the tackles. Boy, that's tough to find. 1102. It's the Big 12 though.
You know what? With Trey Harris and Ao Manor both on the board.
Ao Manor's not on the board. I'm just saying, like when the time comes on Friday, I think.
I'm saying if the two were both there, I think Harris is a more likely pick. If Goody's picking between the two, I think he's more likely to go Harris.
Certainly possible. Yeah.
Now, I also think that Goody, and I don't necessarily agree.
I think he and I see eye to eye
will really like Quinshon. Could you imagine if Trey and Quinshon were both available when the Packers are on the clock in the second round and he takes Quinshon? You know that's something he would do.
That's gross. I think we got bigger issues.
Quinshon's got a 9.9 RAS. Trey has an 8.87.
Truly insane that he has a 9.9. I can't believe that.
He doesn't run like it. Not until he gets the head of steam going.
No. All right. What's the plan?
Let's pull a trigger on Trey Harris. I think there's some other positions that would make sense, but
yeah. Let him be there.
Oladeo. Who are you looking for?
Shoot.
Who are you looking for?
We didn't mention Collins. We mentioned his teammate. I'm pretty sure his teammate's not available. That's very unfortunate.
So pull up defensive tackle. Chris says fire Goot, stop the madness. Goot is a very above average GM. I have my axe to grind with some of his draft decisions, but he's a very good GM. I don't want him fired. I want him to do a better job. Same way I want Matt LaFleur to do a better job, but I don't want either of them fired. Did you show me the defensive tackle while I was answering Chris and then I didn't see it?
Yeah, probably. Oladejo's there.
Yeah, Ty Robinson it is, man. This would be just like Goot, though, I will say. Miss out on the deep defensive tackle group. To go pick a couple guys at some kind of thinner positions. Now, it's not a bad corner class. I'd say it's maybe a bad safety class, though.
Yeah, we've got the corner. 3 Mississippis in a row.
No. I did not say this name.
3 in a row. 3 in a row.
All right, do this for me. Just put it on all and slowly scroll. Just slowly scroll. Let's see.
Okay.
Keep going real slow. Right now, my pick would be Oladeo of the guys that we see here. Pause one second. did say Cameron Williams.
You did?
Yeah, I did say DJ Giddens. Okay, keep scrolling.
That's true.
Savion Jones, I did say.
Collins is good value, except we didn't say him. So we can't take him. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, and Collins.
He's big guy.
Collins, I did not say for a reason. He's 332 pounds, did not do the agilities. I just don't have enough information about him. And he's almost 24 years old. I just, not real productive, old. Did we lose our thing? What happened?
No, I think everybody's thinking what I'm thinking.
You want to start over?
It's tough. It's tough when it's the corner first. It does seem like it is. But again, this is what we have to live with. I don't know if Harmon's going to be there, guys. Truly, we're stuck. Oladejo. Why can't you have long arms, bro?
I think Oladeo is probably in consideration, but so is DJ Giddens here. And Cameron Williams, Isaac Tesla, Tyler Batty.
Just eat Culver's. Please, Kobe. I'm begging you.
Have some extra cheese curds. I think the pick here is Oladeo.
Eat.
I think the pick
Yeah.
here is Oladeo.
All right. Oladeo it is. Come on, Ty. Fall to us at 124.
Which Ty? Ty who? Ty Robinson?
I know what he was ranked. He is here.
Tyler Batty? Ty Robinson?
He made it.
Scroll up. Let me see who's above Ty Robinson. I this is probably the pick here, but just scroll up a minute.
All right.
Okay. No, yes, no, yes, no. Keep going. Tesla, yes. Torrey, yes. Noel, no. Keep going. Tyler, yes. Billy, no. Ben, yes. Ty, yes. Who would you rather have, Ty Robinson or Tyler Batty?
Ty Robinson.
What about Isaac Tesla?
Ty Robinson.
And let's just do it. Let's just nail Ty Robinson. Drew said it's a little different having Jake at the helm. Do you like having Jake at the helm better? Be honest.
North, South 2, North 2 through, or not North. I guess they're not North UCLA. But
yeah, Robert. Yeah, Nebraska is the only northern team representing here.
All right.
So look at that. Tesla's still there. RJ Mickens is still there. Fadil Diggs.
Ooh, this is important.
Two of us said Jake is doing well, not accidentally taking Ty Robinson in the second. I thought that was the third. I thought I accidentally took him in the third.
These two are here. Lindenberg and Buchanan are both there to make a move later.
I'm fine with you taking Taj Brooks. That's fine.
We can do it. We can do it one later. But I remember just thinking about like where some of these guys are on the board here.
Let's look at all defensive line. All defensive line.
All right. We're rebuilding this thing in the aggregate.
Drew said you get a false start on Ty Robinson. You go to the bench. All right, fair. But Drew, you didn't answer. Do you like me driving or Jake driving? Drew says he likes switching up who's at the helm with different styles. All right, fair enough.
Joyner, we mentioned.
Scroll back to the top. When I'm yakking at the chat, I'm not paying attention to the thing that I asked you to pull up. Let's see. Ty Hamilton, Jared Harrison Hunt. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. Oh, Colin Oliver, I said. Keep going. Cam Horsley. Fadil Diggs.
Yeah. Mentioned our guys.
It's picked over. It's picked over, man.
Luckily we've got two. Right? We got two in the room. That was an important step in this one. Which is good.
Yeah, we did. Look at tight end. Look at tight end. Are any of our tight ends there that we want?
Yeah, they are.
Is this Tyler Dershel? It's a Tyler. Let me see if it's Tyler Dershel. Hold on a second. $20 donation from Tyler Dershel. Have a blast. Go Pack Go. Thanks, Tyler.
That's man. For JJ only, right, Tyler?
No, he did not say that.
He said,
He did
have
not
a
say
blast, though, because you said this is the walking around money for the draft. So I'm almost positive that is the case. Give me one.
that. Uh-oh, we lost Jake. Did we lose Jake or did we lose me? I can't. Jake's all gone. Well, listen, there's only 3 names that I can even see on screen. Oh, he said, give me a moment. This is what I get for yakking. I wish it would let me, like, take control. Oh, he can still move his mouse. Okay, so he's not dying. Okay, let me look back at some offensive linemen here that I had been going to claim. Dude, I don't know what happened to his face. Logan Brown? Yeah. Should I do the Jake voice and talk to myself? Prince Capsaicin said Jake went roboto and out. Caleb Rogers, of course. You know I like Caleb Rogers. We like Bryce Cable do. Logan Brown. I mean, Logan Brown's higher. SDN, Noel Williams is still there. I think he was still there, but we excluded him. Let me go back and address the why on that. So Noel Williams, he's fringe. He's fringe. Where's my quarter?
Okay. All right.
Noel.
All right. Sorry. I've been
Hold
apartment
on.
moving. If you haven't noticed the new kind of newish background. So people were moving stuff in while we were going on, and they had the doors unlocked, so I had to lock both of them real quick. So yeah,
I think that Noel is like fringe enough that he still like should be on here.
$10.
Like I'm more in
Baltimore
than out.
129.
You're making me wish that I had
This is
said
unfortunate.
yes on Noel. Now the athleticism is
We need DT. We were like on the fringe of like taking Robinson.
We just ruled out that there aren't any DTs.
Right? No, I'm saying like
ruled out there
with Noel versus Ty Robinson, kind of. It was like, well, we were considering Ty Robinson in the 3rd even. So it was kind of like, well, he's there in the 4th. There's no question, I think.
Well, but the issue is that neither of us claimed Noel when we were
well, that is another problem. Yes,
and I'm saying as I'm sitting here, I'm kind of kicking myself for not going ahead and just saying yes. The athleticism is not quite there. It's a little low.
No,
7.13 RAS.
It's interesting that like when you watch him, you wouldn't think he has short arms. Like when you watch him play boundary corner, you would not think.
Yeah, 30 3/4 inch arms.
Yeah, you wouldn't think he does the way he plays. But we have taken Noel a lot.
Drew says Drew
it's points out. We have taken him like probably 50% at the very least. He's been in a lot of mock drafts.
SDN said going to have to double dip at corner. Jewel for this and Tyler Dershel are banging the table for us to draft a long snapper. Listen, it's realistic, predictive draft time. All right. And we can't draft a long snapper because Lord Dictator Matt Orzech has pictures of Brian Gutekunst and Mark Murphy.
Yeah, we can't even draft one. There's not even ones to draft here.
I don't think they have any long snappers on PFF.
Although I will say, here's our guy. This guy is the way. If you want a kicker. Anyway.
Okay, so the chat wants us to look at linebacker and cornerback.
So linebacker,
and they also want to see if Tesla
quickly.
Is still there.
Well, for one, Kobe King, good block shedder. But guys, we mentioned Lindenberg and Buchanan are still there. I like Buchanan. I do.
So
those
King,
are 2 of our guys.
I excluded mostly based on height. He's only 6 foot. Like I would still take him. I kind of ruled him out a little bit as like a Packers pick.
Yeah. I mean, the 2 guys we brought up, 2 of them we brought up are still here at 159. I think they will be next go round. The one who won't
is Logan Brown.
Is our guy.
Let's look at corner.
Caleb Rogers is another one, right? Probably not going to be there in the next go round. Cabaldu's another one. Probably not going to be there in the next go round.
too old for this. Do they do mock drafts to find the new pope?
Yeah, that was a great comment. That's so good.
Did you see 3-year Letterman tweeting about the Pope, and he called him Pope Jake Paul II?
Oh shoot!
And then he used a picture of John, Angelina Jolie's dad, Angelina Jolie's dad.
Oh,
Angelina Jolie's dad.
Oh,
He was in Mission Impossible. He was in National Treasure. John with a V.
Voight.
John Voight.
Yes,
yeah.
Voight.
Yeah. So he tweets out a picture of John Voight and calls him Pope Jake Paul II.
Goodness sakes.
Okay, did you pull up Corner yet? Can we see Corner?
Yeah, we can.
The chat is. See, there's enough of a delay from the software of the live stream software.
Back. Yeah.
You guys are saying Voight, and we'd
Marshall.
figure it out by the time.
We talked about. Man.
Yep.
All the way.
I didn't
down.
say Burke.
Denzel
I didn't say Burke.
all
I
the
did
way
say
down.
Marshall.
I did say Tommy
we
Hill.
said Tommy Hill. Yep. Is Quincy Riley still available?
No.
I'm sure he's not.
No.
Okay. Let's take Logan Brown. Let's take
All right.
Logan Brown or Caleb Rogers.
All right. We haven't taken Rodgers. Let's do that.
Let's do it. I like
Or
it. Caleb
Campbell.
Rogers.
Yeah.
No. Give me
No,
Rogers.
Caleb Rogers? All right. Caleb Rogers. It's different.
I've been wanting him. Wanting him for a minute.
Different. I like this. Team Red is beating Team Blue in the mock draft. That's a Halo reference.
Without any Buckeyes. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Jake Paul probably offered Pope Francis a boxing contract last week. I heard the deal included a Prime sponsorship, too. No, that would be Shador. Shador's NIL contract included a Prime sponsorship. Get it? Because his dad is Prime.
That's good. That's pretty good. Ooh,
Thanks,
no Lindenberg, but Buchanan is here.
So, hold on. Wait, go back to linebacker. I'm curious. Are there any other linebackers that we said besides Buchanan?
No.
Hold on a half second. Okay, so
Not
here are
that we
the
said,
other guys that I'm just going to read off the other guys that we said. We said Jahad
Okay.
Campbell. We said Demetrius Knight Jr., Teddy
say him.
Buchanan, Carson Schwarzenegger, Jalen Walker, Cody Lindbergh, Jalen McLeod. Okay, so if we want a linebacker, it's going to have to be Teddy Buchanan, and I know you do want him. So you like him as the what? The Mike? You like him as our Mike?
Yeah, I think so. I think he can do a lot of what McDuffie does at the very least. But I think he's at least.
I think it's probably time to add another body to that room, since the Mizzou guy we got last year, whose name is escaping me, is never going to play. Tyron Hopper. He's never going to play.
Probably not.
So what else do we have here? Can you just stay on all and just scroll down real slowly
Yeah.
when you're done looking at what you're looking at? Okay, Shuck, Hancock. Ooh, Hancock is an interesting consideration here. Go to who we've picked already.
Yeah.
So we don't have any. I mean, Trey Amos is not playing corner, not playing nickel.
Yes, that's true.
So we got. I would have Hancock in consideration here.
I don't remember if we said Cone or not, to be honest.
I didn't even watch him. Western Michigan, it's hard to find some tape there. Scroll down a little bit.
Caddies does have a few games.
Andrew Armstrong, I did say.
Yeah, he was.
Jared Harrison Hunt. I'm getting
pops
itchy that Harrison Hunt is still here. Cabledew, Corey Black, Colin Oliver, Elijah Badger. Badger, maybe.
Wait a minute, JJ. DK.
But we said we liked Badger
DK.
better because he's not so much a slot guy. Maybe we go Badger here. Do we want to go Badger here? I'm kind of. Here's the guys I'm considering right now: Hancock, Armstrong, Badger, and Harrison Harrison Hunt, I think, are the guys I'm considering. RJ Mickens, I'm not out on. I'd be in on that.
Harrison Hunt.
When you're done looking at what you're looking at here, pull
is this
up
the number?
Quarterback.
Is this the number for Harrison Hunt? 294. Is that accurate? Most PFF ones aren't, but sometimes they've updated them. I feel like it isn't.
Harrison Hunt.
Horsley is here too.
I have him at 290. I got him 6'3", 290.
Okay.
Yeah, Horsley. Yeah, go to quarterback. So we got. I see Shuck is available.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Get out of here. I don't want to talk about FCS.
Yes.
Drew said, worth noting, if we trade Jair, that's a big
heavy
one.
hitters. Okay.
We probably get a pick back unless
Tommy
Blair
Millot
or
and
future
Cam
pick.
Miller. Heavy hitters from the FCS that I would rather have than these jokers. Connor Bazalek was at Bowling Green. Didn't even realize. It's wild.
I lived most of my life like just 15 minutes away from Bowling Green. Man, Andrew
I think
Armstrong,
it's Hancock or Armstrong for me. That's what I would say.
I think it's probably Hancock. It's close, but I think it's Hancock.
Just because I think, more
He's
options.
at safe. They listed him at safety.
More options at receiver if you want to double up.
Too old for this. Does
Please,
FCS
Teddy
stand
Buchanan,
for
Teddy
Christ's
Buchanan,
sake?
Teddy Buchanan.
I will say, I think it's wild.
Frick.
Absolutely wild that FCS champion gets to go to the White House as well.
Dang it.
Like, come on. Are we gonna let the minor league baseball?
Who took him? Who's the team I'm gonna have to tick at?
Is the 49ers or the Steelers?
Who did it?
It's always.
DK went here. Taj Brooks.
Oh, I forgot to even look at Taj.
Ton
Brooks.
Crawford.
That was a brutal round.
Miami did it.
All right, I'm going on the record here. Hancock was the wrong pick.
Oh. Armstrong.
Toolphysicist says, "Okay, that was stupid. I need to go to bed."
Armstrong's still here.
He didn't like our Hancock pick.
Yeah. That's tough. Armstrong's still
Look
here.
at some other offensive spots real quick. Let's see tight end and running back.
Not gonna
Tight
like
end
that.
is nothing.
Not gonna like. I don't think we're gonna like this either. Oh.
Montrell Johnson, Phil
The
Maffa.
next McCaffrey.
Drew said I call a mock redo. It's gonna have to be a
We have to
blazing
blaze
speed round,
through
'cause
that.
We're
We can
15
do
minutes
that.
overtime. 15 minutes overtime.
All
right,
I think
take Armstrong,
we take Armstrong.
and then we'll make our last pick.
Did
here.
Thor Griffith? We said him.
No, we didn't.
We did?
Didn't. No, I didn't.
I thought I said him.
Oh, Harrison Hunt is still here. Just take
Is
Harrison
he?
Hunt.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay,
right there.
we're good. There we go. Okay.
That's a very generous.
Yeah,
the way the 7th round fell for us is quite generous.
Whoa.
They did not like our Caleb
It
Rogers.
was
In hindsight, I don't like our Jordan Hancock pick. I think we missed out on some really good players.
we did miss out.
Prince
on
Cap
some-
Sason said Armstrong seems like a Packer pick. Yeah. Yep, that's the whole purpose of this mock draft right here. Find the Packers picks.
Buffalo, excuse me? Sheesh.
Okay, listen, Jake, if you want to squeeze one more in, we got to do it right now. We got to do it. We got to do it. We got to do it.
Very Baltimore of them to do that.
Drew says, so what do you guys plan to do for the draft when you get here? So, I mean, listen, I put a tweet out, and I said, if you're going to the draft, hit me up and let me know when you want to meet up. Nobody's responded yet. So,
whoa.
If you want to see me, I'm there. I'll be there Thursday and Friday. Jake will be there Saturday.
Wow, we've hit the mother load.
So let me know. I'm bringing a buddy, and we're gonna be
crap.
walking around and see. I got $15 from our live stream donation tonight. So that's not going to get me, a tour of the Packer Hall of Fame or anything. But wait, is Walter Nolan here in your?
Yeah, he is
first
here.
round?
He's
Let's do
actually
it.
here.
Wait a minute.
We've hit the mother load. Nolan
Who
and
else is
Hartman.
available?
What are we supposed to do? I don't know what to do here. I think
Your
all the
stepdad
receivers
just built a new restaurant.
I think all the receivers are gone.
What?
My gosh.
What's the name of the restaurant? Give it a shout out.
Oh,
Here.
Ibuka goes. That's weird. Ibuka goes to the Chargers. That's okay. Golden to Cincinnati. What are we doing? Ted to the Colts? Why are the wrong teams taking receivers? I don't understand.
Okay, take Walter Nolan.
All right.
And let's see who our second pick's going to be. Dude, we
I'll
can't stay
here.
with the Ole Miss guys.
I don't fall here. Darn it.
Drew, what's
JT?
the name of your stepdad's restaurant?
Want to do little JT?
So Ben Morrison, Kevin Winston,
Yes.
Demetrius Knight Jr., Carson
is here.
Schlesinger.
We did say
Okay, keep
JT. I know we
scrolling.
said JT.
We said JT. We said Trey.
Man. Oh, we didn't
We
say
did not
Arroyo.
say Arroyo. We did say Royals.
Did we?
Yeah, I said Roy. I thought I
Okay.
said Royals. Hold on. Let me confirm that.
All right.
Did I say?
So we could just double dip right here. We just do it right here.
I did not say.
I don't think
All
we
right.
did.
Thank you
which
for
is
checking
tough.
on it. I did not.
Which is tough.
CJ
Let's
West.
just do this right now.
All right.
Do it.
Drew, what's the name of it though? I'm
JT,
trying to pull it up on
JT.
Google Maps.
Schwess.
It's behind Anduzzi's, and the first floor is Pope's Pizza, second floor is Cowboy Max, and third floor is Fire and Fur Event Hall.
I will say.
It's not his; he just built it. He's in commercial construction. Oh! I got you.
see.
Drew has all the hookups in Green Bay. Of course he does. Yeah. Well, hey, listen,
We gonna do
you guys.
it, though.
If you want to meet up somewhere, I'm gonna have 2 days to kill. So hit me up.
I mean, JT.
Keep, I want to see who's lower. Keep going.
Where are we
I
going?
think the last name I
I'll
saw
go
was
down.
Royals. Oh, Ferguson.
I think the last name Oladejo was. I think the last. Maybe you saw West and obviously all that.
Well, yeah, I'm okay with going JT. I guess. Oh, Ferguson would be nice. I'm
We
okay with
could do-
going JT.
I mean,
Is Trey here? Oh, I'd rather have Trey.
yeah, I know.
I'd rather have Trey.
I know.
I mean, I would not be like disappointed with having JT. I would be disappointed going JT over Trey. Drew says, "How early will you be here on Thursday?" I'm hoping I'll be there by like 10 a.m. It's gonna depend a little bit. You know, I got a long drive. I'm waking up at 4 a.m. To start the drive. Hoping I can be there by about 10 a.m. Okay, did you take Trey? Take Trey.
Okay.
Is he not like the clear and obvious pick right here? Or
If we're going predictive, probably not. But if we go, what we want to do,
it's probably Carson Schlesinger.
yeah, it probably is. Truthfully.
Okay, let's try and get accurate. Take.
Oh man, that's wild. Schwess. Yeah.
I kind of hate it. I'd
Oh,
rather have
correct,
JT
correct.
than Carson.
All right, perfect. That's in the middle though. JT's in the middle, right? Trey is like what we want to do, real
Okay,
bad.
but of all the guys,
And then
who are
the
here, who do you
Schwess
think
is like the
most
that
likely?
makes sense.
Is there somebody more likely than Schwess? Look
Let
at
me
corner
see
real
if-
quick.
I want to see
Look
if
at corner.
Yeah, no, edge is clearly JT at the moment. Corner,
Ugh.
we didn't say any
Nope.
of this.
Nope. Close
which
this.
is tough.
Dang.
We didn't say any of that. We did say both the linebackers, though. It's tough.
Demetrius and Carson. We got to make our picks quick. I got to
Yeah.
get off of here, man.
JT, I feel like JT combines the like they would do this and also not mad at it as much. Schwesinger's the like they would do it and mad, and then Travion's like we would do it, they would not.
Yeah.
Let's
So
do this.
So I'll kick it quick.
Let's go
and
JT.
Step on some redacted.
Let's go JT. I think we can get Teddy. We know where we have to get Teddy now. We're where.
Carson was the very next pick. That's interesting. Trey Harris
Was
is
he?
gone.
Yeah, Trey
He was the
Harris.
very next pick.
Okay, Chargers. What's up with this? Trey Harris, you took Ibuka.
They take.
Dummies.
So they got Trey Harris,
Jesus.
Ibuka, and Ladd. Okay.
Jeez. Justin Herbert's over 5K. They're abandoning the run.
Oladeo.
I'm mad we didn't put Bo on here. That's tough.
Deo.
It's tough
Well, hold
we
on a
didn't do
second. Wait,
that.
let me grab my O line because remember I skipped all my O line because there were 30 guys down there.
I don't think
and you said anybody who was on there. So I have Bo on in my 30. I have him.
True. Marcus Bowe is sick. He is the ultimate like sicko watch. Dude's just fake jump setting. He's like doing, how the receivers do the throw by technique on a lot of the curl routes. He's just doing that to guys rushing up the arc, snatching. Like he's just doing all kinds of stuff that's insane. But yeah, I mean receivers kind of were in trouble. Tesla and Horton we mentioned.
Tesla and Horton are kind of,
but we did not mention Royals, which is probably an oversight, which is a tough scene.
Oladeo, Bo. Keep
Oladeo's
going.
still here?
Cameron Williams.
Oh, yes. But we did. I think Oladeo's more of a project.
DJ Giddens. Do we go Giddens in the third this time?
Giddens?
That would be.
So are you more like Giddens? Do you like Giddens more or Brooks more?
Oh, I like Brooks a bit more for the production, I guess. But Giddens is more athletic, and so I think that Giddens is the more likely pick of the two. Giddens is like all traits, and Brooks is all production.
Yeah.
So, also Giddens is the better receiver. So I would probably go between the two of them. I would go Giddens.
Okay.
So
rapid fire. What are we doing?
Yeah, go scroll down a little bit further so we can go see below Giddens. Keep going. Let's see if there's anybody who just really jumps out. Tesla, Horton, Noel, Batty, Ty Robinson, Will Howard. Okay, so scroll back up at the top. I forget who we said it was up at the top.
We said Oladejo obviously was consideration. We said Giddens. You said Bo.
I said Oladeo and Giddens, but you were on somebody else. Was it Bo who you were on?
It was Bo, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably between Bo and Giddens. I think I'm leading Giddens. You're leading Bo, right?
Yeah.
But you took JT, so why go? Let me have Giddens here. You got the second round. I'll take the third round, and let's see who we got in the fourth round. All right. Go back up to the top. Who's the first player at the top there? Oh, Savion Jones.
Nobody we said.
Did we ever take a wide receiver? We took a wide receiver already, didn't we?
No.
So Tesla or Horton here honestly makes a lot of sense in the fourth round.
Yeah.
Or Noel. I feel like we should put Noel on the list.
Yeah, but we didn't say him, which is a bit of a tough scene.
We said Batty. Let's go. What do you say to either Tesla or Horton?
Oh, it's fine. We can do that.
Go to all defensive line again.
All right.
I also want to see tight end. Oh, Ty Robinson. We can't. We take him all the time, but he's the clear and obvious choice. Ty Robinson.
I would like a nose tackle.
Tyler Batty. Well, which of the noses here? Yeah, Ty Hamilton's probably the best option at nose.
I would say so. Biggers is way down.
Adam Hunt wants Torrey Horton.
All right, I'm down for that. Let's do it.
Okay, round 5.
Okay, we haven't done a whole line.
Ty Robinson's still here. Okay, chat, vote on whether or not we can take Ty Robinson. Look, here's the thing. We think he's like the packery defensive line guy who's here, and he's like consensus way down, all right? That's why we take him all the time, because we think that everybody's wrong to have him as low as they do. That's why we take him so early, okay? That's why we take him all the time, because he's always available for us.
Yep, it's true.
Danny Stutzman. Did we say yes on Stutzman? Yeah.
I don't think so. Oh, did you?
I thought we did.
I didn't.
I have him as a yes on my board, and he's a 9.62, but maybe I didn't say it. I'm retroactively saying him. Drew and Tyler both vetoed Ty Robinson.
Wow.
All right, fine. 12 of this wants Tesla. We just took Horton in the last round. You want to go wide receiver? I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
It's not the worst idea.
I'm kind of tempted to go. Look, we passed up on Carson in round 2. Ooh. Let's do Danny Stutzman here, man.
Yeah.
Oklahoma linebacker. This is a Packer pick. Look at that. Can't cover for crap.
It's perfect. We need someone who doesn't cover. Perfect. Works for me.
Drew says, I like Ty Robinson. I just want to make it tough on you. Fair.
And Tyler's on the same page with Drew, so that's good.
Tyler is always on the same page with the vibe of Derailed.
Yeah. All right. Stutzman it is? Stutzman.
I think it's clearly Stutzman here.
Okay. Stutzman it is.
Took a second for that click to register.
That's
all the same names.
That's
okay.
So
scroll
funny.
down. Let's just see what's available. Let's just scroll down. You could take Cabaldoo. That's fine. That's fine. I don't mind it. I don't hate it.
All right, we're doing that.
Go ahead, take him.
We're taking Cabaldoo.
Yeah, that's fine. We don't need to see who else is there because we like him at the spot. All right. Scroll down and let's just see who's available after this.
What's going on here? We're in
the simulator is just,
bro.
The simulator. Oh, Ty Hamilton, dude. You get your nose right here.
Oh, yes.
Okay, let's see who else is available. But I think Ty Hamilton in what? Yes. The 6th round? We're in the 6th round here.
Oh, we're at 237.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's what's insane about Ty Robinson being here.
Well, we're not allowed to take Ty Robinson. So just set it to all and scroll down and see who else is available.
We have one
not
receiver,
doing
right?
Yeah,
we did one receiver.
Yeah.
We did Armstrong, right? We did that. Did you say Cone?
Did we take Armstrong last time? I thought we passed on him.
We took Armstrong.
We did?
Yeah, we passed on him once and he was still there.
Have we done Armstrong and Tesla in the same draft before? I think we have.
I think so. I think we did do that once.
Caleb Rogers, Harrison Hunt, Corey Black. Corey Black would be fun to take. Colin Oliver.
Marshall.
I mean, I love Marshall.
Maxon Hook. Not as much slot as I would have hoped.
Okay, how realistic do we think Ty Hamilton in the 7th round is?
It's possible.
Drew said could throw in a quarterback. Let's look at the QBs and see.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
I swear, freaking Colin McCoy is in. Is Elgersma there?
No.
Dude, that's such a stupid name. Like, I don't even know how to say that.
I would be so down.
Which I know is rich coming from a guy whose last name is spelled like Lahey, and it's Lahey. But come on. Like, try saying Elgersma out loud and not feel like you said something stupid.
Yeah.
Like, clearly it's pronounced differently. You're just mangling it. Okay, so we think Ty Hamilton in the 7th round is realistic.
He's pulling his Aaron Rodgers TD interception ratio out here. That's what I'm talking about.
We think Ty Hamilton in the 7th round is realistic. Yes or no?
4. Yeah. I don't see why not.
Because Maxon is here as well.
Certainly different.
Maxon is here.
It'd be great if Crawford were still here. But they love leaving the Buckeyes still available for some reason.
Go with
our guy Dan Jackson.
I kind of like the idea of Maxon Hook.
Okay. Drew's saying Wohler, which I did mention him. But is he going to be able to play
anyone who has
slots?
seen The Pirate Bay knows exactly how to say your name. I'm just kidding. I know it's not The Pirate Bay. No, it's Trailer Park Boys.
Maxon Hook.
Drew says Wohler.
Yeah.
Did we say Wohler?
I did say Wohler.
You did? Okay.
I did.
Yes, you did. That's right. That's right.
Wohler is a safety, but he played more slot snaps than our guy. Oh, did you say him? You say Malik Verdon?
I did. Yeah. Jake, you got to just pick somebody because we got 2 picks to go here, and I'm getting booted off.
I bet. Somebody say Bilal Cohn?
No.
Say him. Nobody said
you
him?
asked about that in the last draft too.
Dang it. Okay. I'm taking Ty Hamilton.
Oh, you are? Okay. All right.
Doing that. Yep.
Lit. If he's still here, take Max and Hook.
Might be. Yep.
All right, there you go. Boom.
Okay. Interesting one here.
So
obviously,
these
the
are
A plus is going to be
drafts.
for sure going to be an A plus for Dolan because he shouldn't be.
You know, we're trying to be predictive, and I think that the
weird grade.
Second half of this draft kind of fell right. The first half of this draft, I just don't know how realistic it fell. That's the problem. I like both these draft classes. I think these are both realistic and satisfying.
Yeah, maybe other than Giddens, but I think. And Ty Robinson looking at us for 160 picks.
Yeah, that was annoying.
I have no idea why Cal would lose a D.
And Drew and Tyler are just
what is
snickering
this?
at me.
What is this?
Drew says it's going to be a crazy draft.
Why is this a D?
Because nobody's talking about Cabaldue. Nobody except for
he's higher on the board than where we took him. I don't understand. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Mock draft sim be crazy.
The mock draft sim says Green Bay, stop taking all the good day 3 linemen. You turds.
I saw a mock where Mason Graham went 18 overall. I guarantee, Mason Graham will go much closer to number 1 overall than to number 18. And that's not a hot take.
So that means he can't go 10th.
Yes.
I think he can go 8th to Carolina.
Yeah, but 8th is still closer to first.
Right? No, I know. I'm trying to come up with the scenario.
The latest he could go that
San
would
Francisco maybe, but I don't know. Are the Jets even going to let him go? Is Aaron Glenn and company going to be like, oh yeah, we'll just let him go by? That seems
I see what
crazy.
you're doing. I know what you're doing, Jake. You're trying to get me sucked in and get me talking about fun draft stuff like we've been doing for 2.5, almost 3 hours. When we both know that it's happened again. You've squandered another perfectly good 2.5, almost 3 hours listening to us schmucks here on Derailed. I want to thank you so much for being here with us through the entire lead up to the 2025 NFL draft. Really hope that you guys are going to come to the draft in Green Bay. If you're there, give me a shout at JJ Lahey, Lahey on X. Easiest way to get a hold of me. Would love to meet up with you. All right. If you watch this show, I'd love to say hi to you guys and talk in person.
It's accurate.
Hunter went 23 and Genty went 54. Isn't that the one that we did last week on NFL
I was
Draft
like,
Buzz?
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw that too. They got Cam Ward in the third. Is crazy.
Fine, too old for this. I'll give it to you. Here you go. Here's the trophy. It's the derailer of the week. You did it. All right. We're trying to get out of here.
I will say he did have it with they choose the Pope doing mock drafts. That was also a great comment, by the way. So
yeah, I'm gonna have my hands full trying to name this podcast episode, but the Pope is probably gonna make it in there. Listen, the words of the late, great, honorable Pope Ed Policy the First.
Cardinal.
Go Pack, go.
Former Cardinal, now Pope.